Oh, that was really sudden. Why did that surprise me? It
I
shouldn't have
don't know.
surprised me. It's because I was looking at comments. I was looking at you nerds talking about thrust.
Oh, thrust.
And
yes.
thrusting. And can it's a valid question. Can a starship go in reverse? And yes, you can. You can just thrusters, just go backwards. But I don't think you can go warp in reverse. I think that's a really bad idea. I think that's how you loosen the sails. And Ian is in America. Ian is in Aaron Dice's office. I've heard that's your official anthem now.
I just realized that it is the 17th and I hadn't changed my calendar.
There's no point now. You may as well just wait until June. Just save yourself some effort and do it in June.
I'm much better, thank you.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I'm feeling much.
Wait. They warped in reverse? They went backwards warp? I'm all like, why would you need to? Why would you ever need to warp in reverse?
I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. I guess you
can. I just don't know why you would have to. Yes, in a word. In a word, I just saw the immediate. It was a good thing we weren't live. It was a little bit crazy.
What is it?
No conditions are being violated because I can be here for 90 days. I'm only here for 5 weeks. And then I just have to be back in England for a long time. And yeah, that's how the Esters work.
And that's how it works. I like my calendar because my calendar has like really unique. Can you not like inside my mouth though? Like I have boundaries. Thanks. Anyways, my calendar has like pop art. It's like sort of pop art like, and then it has these really like good quotes. This one says, "Don't try to be everything to everyone on a burger."
Oh, that's true. Because some people like their burgers differently.
Yes, always. But they're about my existing animals, no new animals. So I've got stories, but not new animal stories. And that's different. Although I guess we could talk about the squirrels that we see. I saw a bird die on the way to school this morning. That was really sad. But it, maybe it bounced off and was fine. I didn't stop and do birdie CPR.
You sounded pretty convinced it died when you told me about it. You were just like, oh no. It
was intense. Yeah. I feel like it's one of those moments when you see a little birdie ping off of the side of a vehicle and you hear the little sound effect in your mind and you don't know if you actually heard it in real life or if you're just so imaginative you hear the boing,
boing. That's not what bird bones do.
The most interesting thing is that my neighbor, whose cat I've stolen, is having a garage sale today. So I went over to her house and I asked if I could just buy her cat. And it turns out that one of the things that she was thinking about selling was the big cat tower, where it's like the multi-tier little thing that cats can jump up and down on. And that Thunderstorm has not been using it over at their house lately since he's not been over there very much. Because he's over here.
Yeah.
So I ended up buying a couple of things. Yeah, I'm good. Buying a couple of things over there. And then she gave me my free gift with purchase. So I now have a cat tower.
Oh.
Which is great. Because I literally almost bought one. And I had to stop myself and go, Danae, stop buying things for the cat. This is not your cat. This is not your cat.
I'm amazed that you even offered to buy it because you don't need to. You already have it. Like, possession is 9 tenths of the law or whatever that is. You have the cat. That cat is yours now. It's with you more than them.
It's currently downstairs sleeping again. So it's having its almost daily afternoon nap at the house.
Day nap.
And yes, Link, Ian has come over and met the cat.
I met the cat on the last visit. I think I met the cat first, actually, because I saw it outside.
Okay, so
maybe? Or was that a different cat?
Well, no, it's the same cat. But we had seen the cat, and I had pet the cat lightly and then left it alone because it's not my cat. And I thought I was allergic. I'm not allergic to this one, apparently. Nope. But what you'll remember about this is that this is the cat that you taught Iris how to act
Yes,
towards cats with
cats.
because
yes,
she was used to dogs, and cats are very different.
very, yeah. Cats are
Yeah, absolutely. I can claim squatters' rights. It's okay, sci-fi brony. It's totally fine. We're just getting started.
You're right on time.
Yeah. You guys just missed thrusting. That's all. Good point, Dark.
Yep. I'm still
I was
baffled.
asking about who is faster.
Oh, dogs or cats? I think cats are faster.
Oh no, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, she hasn't asked yet. No, she hasn't.
No, she hasn't.
No.
I thought that she would have. I totally forgot about that. I don't know if I want to prompt her, but if it comes up naturally, we have to remember to talk about it on the show because I'm sure it's going to be funny.
To be fair, she's been too busy eating English pancakes to ask me any questions.
Ian made her pancakes when he was in town last time. Was that the first time he did it? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And she loves them. And so it was the first thing. Ian, you're here. Can I have some pancakes?
Just brought a frying pan out from the kitchen. Like, make pancakes.
I think that's better than, where's my present? You know what I mean?
That's true. I would rather that. Yeah, exactly.
What is an English
pancake?
Anything?
So it's like an American pancake, but it's really thin. I think you guys would call it a crepe. Wait, Sarah? I thought Sarah was English.
Crepe.
What's
Well, maybe Sarah knows what an English pancake is once you describe it. For us, we call it an English pancake because it's not like an
so
American
we would just call them pancakes. That's what we have on like Easter and Pancake Day. Yeah, they're really super duper thin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Sarah just lives in the UK. That's cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, so English pancakes are really, really thin, crepey things. Yeah, but we make them better. They are technically French, but we make them better. And yeah, it's really, really yummy. And you put like syrup in it, bruv.
Can you do this? Pancakes in it, bruv.
Pancakes in it, bruv. In it. Pancakes, best.
The only animal shenanigans that you missed was just me talking about like nothing really exciting. I do have a cat tower now because the neighbor whose cat this isn't needing it anymore, and so she felt very happy to send it to my house where it will likely be used by the cat. We'll see. I'll keep you up to date on that. There is an interesting thing actually, Ian. When Ian saw the cat in person yesterday, there was a pink.
Oh yeah,
stretch across his white fur.
Very evenly distributed. Very
soft pink too. It wasn't like a dye streak or something. No. Obviously he got into something, or and this is what I asked the neighbor early this morning. Do you think he visits another house in the neighborhood and there's just like this little kid that just drew on him? Because that's entirely possible.
As my cat. Yeah. Like, this is my cat now. I've put my stamp on it.
So then she tells me that he did leave the house once and go on a little adventure and come back and had brown, like just splotches all over him, and she never knew what it was. So I think there might be a little kid he visits who's got like a little crayon, like a little water like marker
this cat,
or something.
Like shares whatever houses he wants. He's got a great life.
Oh, no syrup, has to be lemon juice and
sugar.
You are
incorrect. It is a bit of syrup, lemon juice, and you don't need the sugar as well.
I think you can do it however you want to do it.
I think that's wrong.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Yes. I wonder what Thunderstorm will think as well, because this is something that has been at his original home for a very long time now.
Oh, that might be so confusing.
It's got to be confusing.
Yeah.
I think what he's going to do is he's going to whiff it, and he's going to say to me, "You need to bring my food over here, lady. I have an entire bed that I sleep on all day long. I have a basement. I have a special place that I drink my water. You give me special water. I have special liver treats every day. I don't need this. I need my food to be over here so I don't have to go." She also told me that his meows have been changing at the house.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, because he used to just hang out in the mornings, and then whenever they would leave, he would just kind of go meh, 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 and then leave. But now in the mornings, he stands at the door and goes meh, like really, really emphatically to tell someone, "Let me out. I have places to be," and that's new. So
that's amazing. I gotta go. I gotta get out of here. I gotta make some kitty visits.
English pancakes pale in comparison to the stroopwafel.
Yeah,
did I say that right, Ryma?
No.
The stroopwafel?
Stroopwafel. I have heard of these actually. I don't know if I've ever had one.
They're at Costco. I've seen them at Costco in like a big packet, but I've never tried one before. I think they're really thin waffle wafers, and then they have maybe like a tiny bit of caramel on the inside, like sandwiched between the layers. That's what I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that sounds yummy. And yeah, we do have them at Easter. We have them on Shrove Tuesday, which is just Pancake Day. We just have Pancake Day. That's the thing.
Yes, his true name is Thunderstorm. Iris renamed him Snow Shadow before knowing what his actual name was, and then I have dubbed him Kitty Bird.
Kitty Bird.
But you have to say it Kitty Bird because he will come to that.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's so good.
Aw, thanks, Josh.
I guess I don't technically live in Missouri yet.
That's right. My mother did this once. Yes, they kind of go on top of your coffee mug.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I would love that. Oh, Rima actually has the proper description.
See? That's it.
Kind of a waffle cone thick waffle sliced in half with caramel, usually in the middle.
Oh, I agree. 100%. Snow Shadow is an amazing name. She actually still wants to call him Snow Shadow, and I said, do it. I don't think anybody minds.
Like cat won't go.
You know what she calls me? Danae.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Which I love. Like, it is my name.
Danae?
If she says mom and she doesn't get my attention for some reason, she'll go, Danae, I'm talking to you.
There might be other mums present, so I need to get specific.
It's incredible.
That's amazing.
I was in basic training in Missouri, but I try not to hold that against the whole state. Yeah, I understand that. Sean, guess what? Ian brought me crumpets. Okay, he brought Iris and I crumpets.
Yeah.
Because he knows how much I love them when I visited. Was it last year?
Yeah, It was last year. Yeah, it was last year. November. Yeah. Wait.
I fell in love with crumpets. It was a problem. It was a problem. I wanted to eat them all day long.
Slathered in Marmite.
And my friend that I was traveling with, she decided to try to figure out how to make crumpets. And we had a couple of weekends back to back where we spent hours in the kitchen attempting to grow the right kind of yeast and then drop it at the right temperature and have the pan the right temperature. It's a very specific process to get the same thing. And unfortunately, we never did it. Like, we never got the crumpet. But fortunately, we did get something that was very akin to an English muffin, and that was yummy as well.
Interesting.
So, I mean, bread is good. Yeasty stuff I love. But yeah, it was so yummy.
I bought a 9-pack of crumpets, or a 10-pack, something like that. It was 9 because it's 3 stacks of 3. So lots of crumpets. And I had to introduce Iris to them. And I said, we're going to have tea and crumpets now. So I made a cup of tea and crumpets. And she said, when is it time for the trumpets?
She calls them trumpets. It was amazing.
It was so good. She's like, I thought they were trumpets.
She calls Ian Eon.
Eon. Yeah.
But more like, not because she doesn't know how to say Ian, but because she likes it. She says Eon.
Eon.
And then she's also
that extra syllable in.
Oh, she's also talking in his accent, which is great. It's really funny.
It's adorable.
She comes up to him and she says, guess what? It's getting easier and easier for me to say water. It's awesome.
Water.
I love it so much.
It's fun.
Do. I like Marmite. Not everyone does.
It's divisive.
When I had the crumpet yesterday, it had butter on it, and I immediately was missing that really intense salt. Yeast.
Yeasty salt thing. Yep.
Okay, so a fucking crumpet is, and by the way, this is an R-rated show.
Yes.
It's the dough is an activated yeast. I think I'm remembering that correctly. It's like and then you take a drop of it and you pop it down onto a pan inside of a circular container that can kind of keep its shape. And then what happens is the bubbles start to kind of move up to the top. So you'll have sort of the spongy top and then more of a solid bottom. But it's just this really kind of like bouncy bit of bread. It's so kind of how I would describe it.
Spongy and it's really good to put toppings on because it absorbs everything. Like, it absorbs all of like the the jam, the Marmite, the butter, whatever you're going to put in there. It's so good. I'm gonna pull up a picture of one right now.
I had someone ask if I'm from New Zealand. I can't tell if my accent is wandering or if Idaho just don't encounter enough Brits. It's probably the Idaho.
Yeah. There's not a lot of Idaho in England that we would interact with.
Although I do have a hard time distinguishing the different areas and kind of the accents. Like, you're really good at it, obviously, Ian, because you're there. But I can't. I'll hear them on the British Bake Off, the Bake Off show, because everyone's from England, but then they all sound so different from each other. Regional. That picture does not do it justice, because that's a massive doll.
Looks delicious to me.
Yeah, but like 40% of it's covered in butter. You really can't see how porous it is.
You can see little holes. Hang on, can you see my mouse? There we go.
Crumpets should be eaten with so much butter that it leaks out of the bottom. Okay, well, then this is the right picture, isn't it?
Not an exaggeration. There should be a puddle on the plate where all of the butter has leaked out.
Yeah.
So good.
It's really, really good, Slab. And here's the thing. So Ian decides, Iris gets home from school yesterday and Ian was here. And so she comes in, she's like, I want a snack. And Ian says, I have a plan for that. I brought crumpets and we're going to have crumpets and tea. When he set the crumpets down in front of us, I clocked how many we were eating and immediately was like, this is too much. These have to last for several weeks. Like, I'm going to eat all of them in one day. So I have to be really careful not to over.
There's only 5 left now. There are 5 crumpets left.
The butter hides its flaws.
No, there are no flaws.
It's really yummy. I think you probably can, Link, but I don't know how. Like, it's not in my local store.
I haven't seen them anywhere at all. I did have something from Josh. Ian, you need to send me some roast chicken flavored Walker's crisps. I can't get them anymore at my local international market. I can only get the prawn flavor and Worcestershire flavor. And prawn is one of my favorites. And like the pickled onion monster munch as well. That's a very English thing. Send me your address, Josh, and I will mail you some crisps. I will.
It's like lobster. A butter delivery vessel. That's the perfect way to describe it.
That's fair. Yeah, but
it's the bread version.
Lobster is so overrated. It's a tasteless fish. It really is.
Okay, I agree with you, Lolly. Yes, this would be a really great idea. Order them and then freeze them.
Great idea.
They are expensive. And this is the same with PG Tips, because Ian's tea that he introduced me to when I was in England is super yummy. And then when he visits, he brings it along with him. And then I'll have some English tea with him. And so then I've been trying to find PG Tips and I have to order them from Amazon and they're really expensive.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to start an English food delivery service. And I will send everybody crumpets.
Oh, an Amazon delivery. That's where I get my PG Tips is from Amazon. So I wonder if I should try to find some crumpets on Amazon. What a crazy thing.
I bought 160 tea bags, I think.
Yeah.
Importing tea bags.
Just nothing but tea bags.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Delicious.
It is available, but they're like the really small ones. And there is a spot, I have a little local market, and I think it's maybe 32, costs $8 or something like that. It's crazy.
Insane.
Link wants to trade you chilies for crumpets.
Deal. I love me some chilies.
Oh my God. Speaking of chili, can I tell you guys this real quick story before we start the show?
Mm-hmm.
So for Mother's Day, can I tell you what Iris got me for Mother's Day? Did I tell you last week?
It wasn't in the show. You did tell me. I don't think we recorded it.
I don't want to be too repetitive. So I told her that I wanted her to get me like a house plant, something for the house. And I said, take your dad, tell him that you want to get like an expensive, a nice plant. I didn't say expensive. I said a nice plant at one of my favorite little garden shops here in town. And she says, okay. And so I give Justin the heads up, like Iris she's got a plan and you're going to have to go to the garden store. And he kind of was like, oh, okay, not a big deal. I can do that. So come around Sunday morning, Iris wakes me up and she says, we've got to go to the garage for your Mother's Day present. And I'm thinking, what the fuck did they buy at the garden store that it had to be stored in the garage?
Mm-hmm.
And so I walk out and she's like, it's around the corner over here. And I'm like, what the fuck has to be hidden out of the way? Is it going to be a tree? Is it going to be like a big bush? Like certainly Justin would give her some parameters. I was actually expecting like a pear tree or like an apple tree, just something insane.
Olive tree, yeah.
I come around the corner and on the ground are 2 tiny little plants in 2 tiny little 2-inch starter things. And one of them is a watermelon plant. And the other one is like a chili plant. I think it's a tomatillo kind of a thing. And it has these little tiny little flowering buds on it where the doing its plant thing. I was shocked in kind of like a way where it's like, oh no. But like also, oh, this is really cute because she picked what she wants. She wants watermelons.
Yeah.
Mom wants a plant. I want a watermelon. Marry the 2 ideas together. Here you go, Mom.
It feels
mother who can barely keep a house plant alive. Please go.
I don't know why you're selling watermelon plants in Missouri. You're never getting watermelons.
That's not true.
Really?
Oh my God.
How are you going to do that?
With plenty of
garden?
watering and sunshine.
Okay.
Yeah. It had like a picture on the side and it was called like a sugar baby watermelon. I think they're about cantaloupe size. So they're not like the big watermelons.
Or the big honeydew yeah.
So round comes my friend Jen, whom I adore. She comes over almost every Sunday, and she's usually in the yard doing yard work with Iris. They're planting things, like around the dead fish. And she sees these, and she begins to kind of tell me what I'm going to have to do to grow this plant, including little hammocks for when they bud out. Like you kind of like you make them. Yeah, you kind of like you grow the vine on something where it can cling, and then when the fruit comes, because you want to keep them off of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So when they're aerial, you then need to kind of build a little hammock support.
Oh, and that's way too involved.
Yeah, as soon as I heard hammock
building,
I was like, no. Yeah, just as soon as I heard go outside, then I was like, no.
No. This needs to be done in my kitchen. This is straight kitchen to table.
Oh, so then I said, I think I'm going to give these plants to your plant mom, Jen. And she was so excited to take them back to her garden and grow them. So we'll get to go visit the little plant children. I already gave them away. It's like, these are going to die. These are going to die in my hands. But it was so cute. I was thinking I was going to get
background.
Yes, that's the goal. Or that we get to go see them growing on the vine and then she can go pluck one off and kind of experience that, which would be kind of cool. Exactly, Flyboy. I thought it was going to be like a cool hanging plant, sort of like a, I don't know, pothos kind of a thing.
You were not specific enough.
No.
That's your fault. You just said nice plant.
I said go to the garden store and pick out a lovely plant for Mom. And so she went back to the food section where she's like, I want to eat this. This looks delicious.
This looks amazing. Of course, I had a picture of it. You can get 12 crumpets for $25. That's insane.
Shipping is $10. So that's it's $35
ridiculous. That's like
for
$12 a crumpet.
Yeah. I need to learn how to make them. That's the solution.
I don't think it's possible to make them.
On my birthday, my mom sent me a knitted cactus with a note saying she finally found a plant that I couldn't kill.
Oh, you should have set fire to it and said, challenge accepted, mother.
Might have been a possum. What a great name. She picked out a plant for her mom to have to make hammock. Yep. It's
amazing.
Fun. It's fun. I'm just glad that there's a chance that they're actually going to make it because Jen lives in this really unique spot in town. She lives in the house that I actually owned for a while. And then I sold her my house and we've been friends for a really long time and she loves it. It's this really cute, like 1920s bungalow style house in Springfield. And the house that was built on an old farm, what are they
burial
called?
Ground?
Yes.
A haunted burial ground?
No. It's not a farmyard. A stockyard. Do you know what that is, Ian?
A what?
A stockyard?
No.
So it's where like farmers would bring their animals for like holding either for shows or for trade. And so just think tons of animal shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they covered the whole thing with dirt. So it's rich soil with a lot of manure, a lot of history of manure, and then soil on top of it. So the ground is really, really
Oh, I guess it's
great.
really rich.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she has prime gardening real estate. Now, I didn't use it for that, but I saw evidence of how well plants grew when I did not mow my yard for an entire summer.
Yeah, and it was like waist high.
No. 7 foot tall weeds.
Oh,
The stalks were
no.
this big around. They were like trees. We had to actually take a fucking chainsaw to a weed.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how
Crazy.
like you can accidentally grow weeds, but you can't deliberately grow something pretty. It sucks.
It was crazy.
That's so dumb.
Right.
Right, disclaimer us
You're
today.
right. You're right. We are live, as you know, on multiple platforms. So what's really, really cool is we get to see how many of you are watching, but everyone's kind of joining in their individual spaces. So we're live on YouTube on the CSPN channel, CinemaSins Podcast Network, where you can watch other live shows in history, or you can actually just listen to the podcasts themselves. We're also live on Twitch on 2 different channels, my own individual channel, Danae Says, and then obviously CinemaSins Live, where most of you hang out on one of those 2 places. But we are also live on X. So your comments, we get to see all of them in one spot. You guys are all chatting with each other in your individual spaces. I know on YouTube, you might want to click on live comments rather than top comment in case there's some that you might be missing. So thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to jump into the show. While we're talking, we will not, while we're recording the actual podcast, we will not be talking directly to the audience so that we can capture that audio in as purest a form as possible and make our editor's job even easier. And our editor is also our lovely Captain Ian Whittington. We are an R-rated show, and sometimes we do steal your comments.
As well we should.
We will pin your comments for later. So if you think of a sin at the beginning of the show, you're welcome to put them in, and we'll try to circle back to them at the end of the show. And that's...
I would love to do this.
That's kind of the basic.
So much.
I mean, you kind of did that with your RP group, didn't you?
Oh yeah, no, I did, but I just used Dungeons and Dragons rules, but I put them on a casino space station. So it was like my discount Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
And then I just modified, like there are like war boats that you can use, and I modified one of those rule sets to be a ship that they could fly around in. But yeah, I would love to do that. It would be so fun. Do you want to vamp while I remember to empty my bladder?
Do you just need to remember, or do you need to actually do it? That's
both. It's going to be remember and then do it.
I can vamp.
Vamp. I don't want to pee in Aaron's office again.
Okay, it's an Ask Me Anything section of the program. Literally ask me anything, and I will do my best to answer it. First question: why is your room so disgustingly dirty, Danae? Well, I'm glad you asked. I am going to be reorganizing, and it takes time, especially when you get sick. But I'm going to redo this back wall behind me, and I'm really excited about it. I hope it goes well, but it does require me to move heavy equipment, which means I need to have assistance to do so. So it's taking me extra long because I have to like coordinate to have assistance with that. Again, is that for me? Reorganizing again? Oh, okay. Could you maybe ask a bakery to do an order of scones and then freeze it? Yeah. Well, scones are really, I mean, if we're doing the comparison to the crumpets, scones are often made. I feel like most bakeries know what a scone is, but if I said, can you make a crumpet, they would just look at me confused. Oh, okay, I'll pin that one. Oh, it's for now. Cinnamon with all these books, I think it's time for Danae. Read Lord of the Rings. It's over there. Must I read it in an accent? Probably not. I don't think I could do it. You guys are so funny. Have you considered a green screen and using... Yes, I have, but I don't have a budget for getting... And I know they're kind of affordable or whatever, but I have other things I'm saving up for. And I figure it's not too bad to look at my mess. This is how you know I'm a real person. I struggle, just like everyone else. Oh, you meant crumpets and not scones. I wouldn't think that they would know. If I said make a crumpet, I feel like they would make something completely wrong. What we need is a UK bakery. What we need is to do our idea, Ian.
Yeah, I know.
We
Yeah,
have an idea. I mean, we have lots of ideas.
Yeah, gonna move my mum and dad over, and mum's just gonna open an English bakery next to an English like sausage shop that's here that does like pastries and whatnot, and one will do the beginnings and the entrees, and one will do the desserts. Mum would love that. Amazing.
Oh my god, so long fucking time ago. Yeah, I would need to practice my Babs voice. It's been over a year since I've played Babs. Isn't that sad?
Wait, what? It's been over a year since you babsed?
Yeah.
Isn't she still on like that prison island thing?
No.
No, she came back from there?
Yeah, she came back from there and I played her a few more times. But yeah, it's been over a year and it's so sad.
Interesting.
I was just I think about it regularly, but I was thinking about it last night when I was going to bed. I was thinking about if I got back into the game, what it would be like and how could I play consistently again. And yeah, there's just seasons in life where you don't get to play as much as you used to, and it sucks.
Yeah, I feel like I believed in it, but I just can't believe a year has gone by. That's crazy.
No, we haven't. I have not logged into the game as Babs in a year.
Wow. Well, on that depressing fact, let's talk about a depressing episode of Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yay. Let's do it. Are we ready?
Okay. Oh, no, I have to update the banner.
Okay, do the banner.
I'm sorry.
Banner.
I'm sorry.
Banner person.
I was just thinking it was episode 7, but then I remember last week I was sick.
I don't know if you answered this. Have you or Ian ever had a cameo in a Sins video besides ads for Captain's Pod?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
We all had like a tiny little role to play on the Everything Everywhere All at Once video.
Mm-hmm.
That was the entire team.
We
So
played 2 characters actually.
Yeah. All active writers. In fact, Babs makes an appearance on that one.
Yeah, Babs does. And an unnamed Ian version of Babs. It's an outrage.
And Iris too. Yes, she does.
Yes, she does.
Her little voice. She did so good.
She did
so good with that.
I can't remember. There's another video. There's definitely another video you've been on. There's a TV Sins video that I've been on.
I feel like there was one moment when I did have a speaking role on TV Sins.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I kind of
cut
in and asked. Yeah, it was something like that. We kind of sometimes will play around with the mixture of the multiverse a little bit, which is really delightful. Yeah, there was. Yeah, I remember that too. I wish we were kind of like keeping better track of where they are and maybe had them on like our wiki or something. But was it WandaVision?
It might have been. That would be a while back.
A sexist. It does seem like it was a while back.
Yeah. Get Danae to speak on
women
behalf
in
of all
heels.
women.
Mm-hmm. Nice memory, chat. Holy shit.
Nicely done.
Yeah, something like that.
I was called on the phone for some reason. Yeah, it was Ted Lasso. It was the only episode of Ted Lasso that we send, and the narrator calls his only English friend to confirm something about England. And yeah,
that seems right. I remember the audio from that one.
Yeah,
because you said hello in 17 different ways.
Oh, I did. I'll give you a few different hellos.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi
this
there.
Is how I pick up the phone. Hi there. Amazing. Okay,
I'm going to give you whatever take you want. Hey.
Howdy. No, that's not this character, Ian. No. Oh, Ted Lasso's
my
so
God.
good. So good.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the matter replicator dispenser thing and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode. We just watched together. Most important question first. What would you like from the programmable matter dispenser? That's the words I was trying to say. Tonight.
Sand. I want lots of sand, just an eternal bucket of sand.
Never-ending bucket of sand.
Mm-hmm.
I would like, you know what? I want the little, no, I don't want that. Oh, this is a journey. I don't know that I want anything from this episode. I want one of the boomsticks that the Breen have, the chanty sticks that they stole from Star Wars.
How Loki is that?
Oh, well, I mean, it's not putting them into like a time dimension thing, but you're right. It does look like the TVA time sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like it was giving me Mandalorian and then it gave me Loki.
That could be the masks.
Yeah.
Now that we've got more into the brain, I have some extra thoughts about that, but I might save that for the sins, which might give away my thoughts. But
it does a little bit.
It absolutely gives it away. Until then, Ambassador, I'm tempted to drag us to sick bay because my head is like imploding. It's turning into a gelatinous asshole.
So you really are getting unwell.
Give us a synopsis.
Oh dear. This is like the moment whenever the captain's not doing well and then the crew is all looking at each other going, okay, who's going to take over the captain's chair? And
it's one of my favorite episodes when like Picard gets a cold and he's just like fumbling through like his commands and sneezing.
Oh, well, let's make it a succinct show and I will do my best to do the recap here.
Do it.
We finally get
Inside voices.
We finally get
No, now you're just closer to the mic. This is worse.
It's not worse.
The whispering is right in my ear.
Okay, I'll back up.
I apologize for everyone at home listening on headphones.
No, that's great. That's ASMR gold.
ASMR,
Fuck
yeah,
you, man.
You can't have involuntary ASMR. You have to get consent first.
Do you? Okay. Well, put it in the description.
Yeah,
and this is on you for not reading the description before you listen to today's episode.
Read the description, people. I put a lot of effort into that every week.
He doesn't. In today's episode, the Discovery gets to the archives by going through the Badlands. Was it as exciting as you thought it was going to be, Captain? I guess we'll find out when we talk about the episode. Oh, have you ever seen Neverending Story? Did you wonder where the palace went? It's been transported directly into this episode, and now it's been turned from a palace of the childlike empress into
nice. I got that reference.
Library,
yeah,
just for you, run by a cuckoo bananas Klingon question mark dot dot dot
no,
question
not
mark?
a Klingon, an Afrosian.
An Afrosian, which is something that none of us have ever heard of before.
They appeared in exactly two movies, 2 Star Trek movies.
I may now have my favorite alien species. Anyway, we visit the archives. We learn that they are terrifying and they have an oubliette, which is directly from Labyrinth lore, folks.
Wait, what? Is it?
Yeah.
No, I think the oubliettes predate the movie Labyrinth. By several centuries.
Yeah. I mean, people have been putting things in holes for a long time.
Oh no!
And just letting them die.
No. That's the opposite of what's supposed to happen when you do that.
An oubliette? Isn't it designed for death?
You said people putting things in holes.
I'm talking about an oubliette, Ian.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
call it what you want.
Also, there's unrest on the Breen ship as Maul decides that she is super, super powerful because even though her husband's dead, she has super special, I'm human and so I have rights powers.
Yeah, I'm married, therefore queen me.
You know, checkmate. She senses unrest and she drives a wedge between the Breen. She murders somebody important. We know he's important because he has a cape.
It's the Primarch, Danae. Show some respect.
But don't be feeling some kind of a way about it because this guy proved to be an asshole because he destroyed the Discovery ship. Spoiler, he didn't. We actually outsmarted him this time, bitch.
Yeah.
And he also is going to destroy the archive where our lovely fairy lady lives.
Yeah.
And that is today's episode. Oh, and most importantly, we find out that Michael has passed the test. She is the savior that we all need.
Yeah.
The end.
Goodness, she was doing the test and not anyone else. Overall thoughts and great synopsis, by the way. Overall thoughts and feelings on the episode. How did it hit you?
I liked it.
I
had a really good time. Yeah. Did you?
Interesting.
Did you check out?
Yeah, I checked out. I'm sorry. I checked out.
I know why.
You know exactly when.
I know.
Why.
I know why. Yeah.
Everyone who has ever listened to any talk about Discovery will know when and where I checked out.
Yeah, it was the moment that we're inside her mind and her counterpart is her boy. Because it's the one thing that you've been talking about this since the beginning of the season where you're like, I just don't want to see this again. But the show didn't do it with Book. They did it with her
count.
subconscious
Okay, that's
as
worse.
Book.
The only thing worse than Book and Burnham is Burnham talking to an imaginary Book, because now I have dreams in there as well. So one of my notes was, where is it? Oh, good, they're doing the exact thing I didn't want them to do.
Yeah.
It's so okay. Overall thoughts and feelings from me, I actually did like the beginning, the end, and some of the middle of this. Like, this is a pretty fun adventure, but the self-testing, the finding my darkest, deepest fears stuff with Book, that there is a lot of cliche in this that for me doesn't serve the mystery, doesn't do the thing that it's trying to do. And I couldn't help it. After 5 years, I couldn't help but check my phone and just be like, I know where this is going, and I'll call myself a dick if it ends up going somewhere else. But guess what? Didn't go anywhere else. It was exactly what it was always going to be. And it frustrates the tits off me. Just have something a bit more. Grr. But I do think it compensated with some great action and pacing, and I think Rayna adds a lot to this, and the momentum, and leaving Reese in command of the Discovery was fun. I think in the past we've seen that scene in the past would have been the episode. Like, they would have lived in that for so much longer. I will give it credit for getting through it quite quickly. But you really liked it, so
I did.
I want to hear why you liked it. Honestly,
well, I think I agree that the pacing was really nice on this one. There's this intensity that's building because the Breen have arrived. There's and then it kind of like the juxtaposition is the quietness of Michael's mind. But I do think that this episode for me works because I haven't spent too much time with Book and Michael. Like, let's say that you've spent a lot of time with Michael and you've kind of seen her struggle maybe with these themes already. This is just hitting on that again in her character arc, or maybe she hasn't. So I guess that's a question I have for you too, is I know that you're over the Book Michael thing, but did you feel like it was a good progression for Michael to sort of dialogue to herself about her fears and kind of how far she's come? Because for me, it works, having not spent any time with this character. I felt like it was a really genuine moment, and I thought that the actor was just like killing that scene. With the emotion. I was really drawn in. The way that it was shot, and kind of the close up and the lighting and just everything dimming, it just sort of all kind of worked to build that tension, and then just for her to kind of just, I don't know, talk about her progression. How did it work for you? Or
Sonequa Martin Green, the actor that plays Burnham, is incredible. She's so good, and it does end up working for me because the end of the test is that she has this self-awareness, and this isn't just like a sudden self-awareness that she's come to find in this episode. She's always been very self-aware about where her priorities are, using her fears, being aware of her own biases. Like, I think she's pulled a lot from Vulcan in that sense of like being aware of how her emotions can drive her, but not like burying them. So I like all of that. But to that point, this is all stuff I know she knows. Like, I feel like I've seen her have these revelations before. There wasn't really anything in there where I was like, oh, she's having a breakthrough. Like she says, if you want me to go deeper into the psychobabble, maybe I'm afraid of fear itself, and I hate that. And she is very aware that she's being analyzed and is analyzing herself. So it works in that sense. I'm glad they played it that way. But it does emphasize why I didn't necessarily need it, because I've seen her have these revelations a lot in the past, especially the job thing, especially when she's like, that's always been a big sticking point between Book and Burnham, is the mission is more important to you, Starfleet is more important, I'll never come first. And she's like, yes,
to
correct.
that degree, that's kind of what I wondered. And it bums me just a bit, but at the same time, I, as a new viewer, did not mind that it was there, because it kind of gave me that insight into some of her weaknesses of finding her identity in her job. But I like that it was tied into the mystery or the clue, which is, unless this mind palace that was called something, Mindscape.
Yeah, Mindscape. Yeah.
Unless there is like a revelation of this particular magnitude, the program wouldn't really give the clue, because they wanted to see self-reflection, and they wanted to see self-awareness, and they wanted to see a person that really weighs their choices. And so we got to see her try to solve a mystery. We got to see her redirect and go in a different direction. And she went with historical history. Then she went with, solving a maze. And then she just kind of sat down and was like, I'm going to die. Let's just think about my life. And I thought that worked for that moment. I think if I had seen her doing this a lot, it would lessen that moment. But I liked why we were doing it in this context.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
For the book character, I didn't mind it because I haven't had much time with Book. So I'm a different, in that regard.
This is very clearly not Book, which is fun. He's way more enigmatic and frustrating. I like that.
He was fun.
That's why I'm not coming down harder on this, because this version of like imaginary Book, I love the sass. Like I want more of that sass. It's really fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed the acting in this one a lot. From the archivist character that I thought was
great, Hyrel.
Yeah, Hyrel. I really enjoyed her. I thought everyone was just feeling really authentic in this one. I didn't really watch someone and get pulled out of the moment. And I was really in this one too, which sometimes I pop out and I'm like, all right, I'm bored. Let me do something else. But in this case, I was really watching it. A lot of beautiful exterior shots and things like that we could definitely talk about. But for the Book character and the way that was acted, there was so much depth in this episode. I really felt terrible for Book whenever he's holding the roots of the tree, which, by the way, are absolutely going to be used to reignite his planet. Come on, it's going to be a seed, right?
Well,
like that's going to
that's going to be paired with the progenitor tech to rebuild.
100%. Yeah. Now, I have the same confidence in that Raynor was going to be a backstabbing asshole, and we don't see that. So who knows?
You're still rooting for it.
I don't know. It's clear they're not going that direction now.
Not a chance now. That would be an insane swing at this point.
I also thought Raynor might die this episode because the Breen arrived and he was going to sacrifice himself or something like that. But anyway,
no, I think he'll have a big thing in the finale.
I hope so. But I like that the Book character wasn't himself. That he was just this sort of like passive but also active character. It was a little hard to figure out, but at the same time I enjoyed it.
Do I look like Book?
Yeah, there was a self-awareness to the program that was fun. I enjoyed that. But then the Book character himself, the actual character of Book, struggling with seeing this part of his home world that was destroyed. And then the mystery, we got to see him do some action through the lens of the Breen being replayed, which was clever. We didn't have to see the fight to recognize the fight was happening.
Felt very video gamey. I was like, am
super
I suddenly in a Star Trek video game? Like it was pretty fun.
And then whenever we saw how relieved he was that Michael came back, that was a real genuine sort of reconnecting moment for those two characters. So for me, that worked. But I can see why when she was talking to him specifically about her revelations and relationship that you would have checked out, that didn't ruin it for me. It worked really well for me.
It almost feels like more and more that this is designed for people new to Discovery. Like it really has been very kind to people that are new to Discovery and explaining it. But with that, you're bound to get frustrations with people that have seen every single episode. And when I know I've said this before, we have so little time left, I don't want you to retread the same ground. What I will say, the biggest thing about the mystery that doesn't work for me, I had such a roller coaster on this one because the Book hologram thing, I said they're finally asking the right question, because when they get through, is it history? Is it a maze? And the hologram is like, how is that going to help us know, the progenitors know, whether you can be trusted and whether you're he literally says whether you're the good guy. So whether you can be trusted to have this technology and do the right thing with it. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's the problem that we've had with every clue so far, is that solving the mystery in no way guarantees that you're going to use the technology correctly. So I was like, I'm so glad they're going to address it. Until they didn't address it. Because
they kind of did, didn't they?
No, they didn't. They really didn't. Because in my opinion, because when they get to the end and he's like, you are showing self-reflection and awareness of fear and awareness of yourself and awareness of like guilt, and you really think about your actions and what you're going to do next. You can do and have all of those things and be a villain. You can be self-reflective, you can be aware of your own motivations, and still want to use the progenitor tech to do your own thing. This is weak sauce. This is by no means if this is with your grandmother's cookie recipe, because we love to use food analogies, okay, the barrier to entry not super high. You're talking about technology that can erase life. The barrier to entry needs to be watertight and really high. And I'm cool. You're addressing it. You know that the clues haven't worked so far, but this clue still isn't doing that. Like,
how do you feel? Like, let's say that the Breen had gotten the final clue and they had got to the library first, and the Breen had pushed the button.
He fails.
He dies.
That Breen fails because he's a one-dimensional bad guy. He is everything evil that evil has ever been. He breaks his own word. He breaks his own traditions. He's horrible. He's evil. He doesn't listen. If you have a nuanced villain that is actually intelligent, as villains can be, and don't see themselves as the villain, like Thanos, for example. Thanos would pass this test. 100% he would pass it because he is sure of his convictions. He knows what he's doing. In his mind, killing half of the universe, moral thing to do.
Yeah. I see your point. No, I see your point.
It's just it needs to be more or nothing because you cannot guarantee that this technology falls into the right hands through a scavenger hunt.
So what would have been better is like you go into this mindscape, you go through the first series of personality tests.
Yeah, right.
And then you're
the
told
Myers-Briggs tests.
Yeah. In order to have this weapon, you need to trill up because you have to have a pair. You have to have somebody else to balance your bad decisions. So like there's a sacrifice. And maybe that's what they're going to do in the last episode is that there's some kind of a sacrifice required.
Then you're looking at the Holy Grail Indiana Jones thing.
Totally understand that reference. Yep.
But the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, destroy the tech. Like, I'm sure that they've kept it because they know it can do a lot of good, but this just feels so risky. If it just let history
for
take
the final
course.
test, it does feel a little risky now that you kind of say it like that. But this is the part where the way that these shows are designed is you kind of don't want to stop and think about it too much. You just kind of like want to keep going.
Agree. And I think if this is where like I can't help my Star Trek brain. If you've got like a 90-minute adventure movie, we'd still seen it, but it's like, cool, I'm along for the ride, great. But this is Star Trek. This is a universe. This is a multi-layered world universe that exists. So this kind of scavenger hunt, I think, just inherently doesn't. It's fun. I can still have fun with it, but I think it inherently doesn't work with the actually being in the real world, which is what Star Trek wants to be.
Yeah. No, I can see that. How many episodes are left?
2, 9 and 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the home stretch.
Well, okay. That's interesting. Because we know that the last episode is when the writers knew that they were coming to a close. And so that one's going to be probably a little disjointed feeling. But this one coming up is designed to sort of maybe bring this story kind of more cohesively together. And we know two things: that the Breen believe that Discovery is destroyed. And I want to know how that worked for you. And then we know that they're going to be meeting up again at this location, and that our crew has like an important piece of the puzzle that she was given by Notebook.
So the destruction thing of
how
the
was
ship,
that for you?
That's fun. That's always fun. Like, I love crazy maneuvers. That's super duper Star Trek. It's a recycled Picard maneuver because
is it?
It is. So during his first command was on the Stargazer. And he only had enough power for like one quick burst of warp. So the idea was that he would Riker modified it. Anyway, Picard jumps to warp really quick, and it looks like the ship is in two places at once because it's traveling faster than light. And then the enemy ship doesn't know which one to attack. Riker modifies that by jumping to warp at the same time as a torpedo explodes. So it looks like the ship has been destroyed, but then Riker appears in a different position and attacks. So yeah, Riker, this is a Burnham Riker modified Picard maneuver.
Nothing is original anymore.
This is the Picard Riker Burnham maneuver.
As someone who had no clue what was about to happen, did you know what was about to happen? Were you like, I know what you're doing?
When she said plasma and debris, I was like, maybe she wants an explosion. But then as soon as I didn't really get it until the ship jumped away and then there was an explosion. And I was like, oh, it's debris. It's an explosion. They're going to pretend to be destroyed. So yeah, I didn't need Raina to spell it out for me, but I did need to visually see. It's fair.
I did.
It's fair. I was just like, oh, I know what maneuver you're doing.
Actually, I didn't need Rainer to do that. I did need Rainer to tell the people, get in line and do what your captain says. That was nice.
That get it.
That was really cool. That was hot.
Yeah.
But like when the Breen scanned the debris field, I could have figured it out then with yeah. I loved it because I was really confused.
Yeah.
And my questions was like, why are we letting ourselves get this destroyed? And it's because it needed to look like the ship, like they needed to look like they were failing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It needed to be that last hit. So
yeah,
I love it. Seen it before. I mean, to be fair, it's hard in Star Trek. We've seen all of this before. Someone in the chat.
Some of us have seen it before.
Someone in the chat mentioned a really great comparison. We've done this episode before in Voyager, where Janeway has to rescue a crew member by going through this it's a hallucinogenic thing, and she has to go through a series of tasks, and it turns out that she designed all of these horrible tasks herself in her head, and the only thing she had to do was to sit down and talk to the original people at the beginning of the task. But she felt better about going through some challenges.
Oh,
she earned it.
That's crazy.
It's exactly the same what happened here.
Well,
Betty created her own tasks.
I honestly thought that the clue was going to be in the book that not Book was reading the entire time.
I don't know how it wasn't. I don't know how Book wasn't the clue.
First thing was that not Book is holding Book and says, this is a good read. And then progressively there's more and more of the book being consumed so that by the end it looks like not Book has finished the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would make it was either that or I thought that like Book would have it under his cloak the whole time. It's like, you just needed to ask me for the clue. Or like it's on my person, or they get naked and they get it on and then she finds the cloak. That's
it was very interesting.
Yeah. Your other point was about what was it about the Discovery heading off to the new?
Oh, that we were going to be meeting on the other side, kind of a thing.
Yeah,
with the clue. Yeah, that's an interesting kind of. It's baffling to me to give such a powerful alien race, but I understand that the stakes were really high.
Yeah, I do get her logic with it.
Yeah, I get her logic.
She thinks she has an extra element.
She does.
Which is getting to the clue, not just like the location, but how do I get to it?
Right. Yeah. But we did see in the future that the Breen have destroyed things. So like this could still be part of that timeline, although I doubt that they actually would do that, but still.
But it could super backfire. If I'm Burnham, I'm just like, no, this is kind of a lot. Like if I really bottom line, you sacrifice the archive. Like it's things.
Oh shit. But that's people. It was 1,000 people plus things.
Needs of the many.
I honestly don't know how you like. I think Rainer would have made that choice.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think that's the point, is that Rainer in the driver's seat would have, I don't know. But can I tell you though, just as somebody who loves to go to museums and see ancient things and see things that have been preserved for history and as someone who had an archivist style grandfather who was a book he started many libraries and he had a bookstore, and I worked in the bookstore with him, and
the same beautiful long flowing hair as well.
Right. There is like this quirkiness, and I really enjoyed the archive. It was like its own character in a way.
Yeah, I'm glad you've mentioned that. That was my highlight of the episode.
It's so good.
The archive, it was also a design that I just haven't seen in Star Trek before. Like this was a really beautiful design. Like it's an original idea. Like there are repositories everywhere. Like we saw one in Lower Decks, but this archive that is dedicated to maintaining bits of information from all across the galaxy is such a cool idea. Like, we should have
really
a TV
interesting.
show in there. That's so fun.
I got the impression that the archive was very powerful with the character Hyman. Nope. What's her name?
Oh no, I want that to be the cold open so bad. Hyrel.
Hyrel, of course, I knew
Hyrel.
that. When Hybe is like so quirky, and then she has this look in her eye when we're not supposed to break the rules, and then we're not told the rules. And so when Michael grabs that crystal and busts it at the end, I was half expecting this episode to take a sudden turn where the archive becomes the next almost like puzzle piece or obstacle that we have to get through, because Hybe,
Hermione just turns on her.
She indicates that it's not a jail, it's an obelisk. No.
Oubliette.
Oubliette. Obelisk is different.
Yeah.
And I kind of got my impression was that this place is very dangerous. And
Me
so
too.
when the Breen start to attack, I was like, the archive is just going to sneeze
fine.
a problem out of the way, you know? But instead, that's the hardest part about the archive for me, is that the character itself was this really interesting, mysterious, powerful, a place where obviously they're protecting things. And I love the dialogue, the high base. She was so fun to listen to.
She was great. Like the Valley Girl accent going on. I was like, where did that come from?
But yeah, I know what you mean. But like the neutrality of it. Yeah. And that they had this greater purpose of preserving information, and that she revoked their library card essentially was so funny.
I love
she
that.
stood up to the Breen, and I thought that they would have some sort of a weaponry to back that.
This is what I'm saying. Where I thought this episode was going is that the confidence with which Hermione delivers that you have now been, you are rejected from the library, from the archive. You're not allowed in until further notice. I thought she had something to back that up with. Like, I was expecting the Breen ship to be decimated.
I did too.
By like some secret weapons. Like, we're picking up energy signatures that have been concealed. And when everyone just thinks the library is just this like quiet place, suddenly it has muscles and guns and lasers. Like, oh yeah, did you think we'd have all of this stuff and not be able to defend it? Yeah, we can defend it. Because like,
or just teleport them somewhere.
Well, yeah, and there's this agreement between like the Breen, the Federation, the Romulans, the Klingons, any number of species have artifacts here. So you think maybe as part of the agreement, you have to arm us as well. Like, we will keep your stuff here. This is neutral ground, but we will be protected. And it just would have been so great for this huge honking city ship of a Breen base just like opens fire, and the archivist is just like, oh, that's cute. Boom, and just like fires back.
This like juxtaposition of this ethereal, magical fairy castle filled with treasures, like cracks open, and the most horrible monster is like,
oh my,
protecting
it. It needs a Balrog. That
like
thing
a wormhole,
needs a Balrog. Yes,
that like something that can just suck you in, and then you're just destroyed, and then all of a sudden the Breen are dead.
Or it just reflects the weapon. It just like, uses their own weapons against them. Like, I wanted something a bit more from the library.
I did too, and it seemed to undermine the feeling that I had. Although, you know, okay, great job, High Girl. Like, you made it seem like everything was really defended, but it's actually not. And so maybe it's just,
I mean, it also like the premise is that it disappears every 100 years and it changes locations.
Oh, that's true.
When it's under attack, bam, that hits a countdown. Just like, okay, the most important thing is to protect the archive. We're going to be changing locations. That also serves as a ticking clock. Rather than the Breen attacking, there's the ticking clock of we're going to move to who knows where.
Yeah.
We need to get off before the archive leaves. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It moves anyway.
Yeah. But despite the questions I have about that, that's kind of as an indicator for me that I really enjoyed it because I wanted to know more. And when a story can kind of pop in and show us a little part of the world and I want to stay there, that's a really neat experience. For example, I didn't feel that way when we were on the planet where it was very dry and there was sand and
water. You didn't want to know more about those.
Didn't really want to know more about that place. But this place, and it wasn't because it's books and there's got to be so much there that they could explore, but it was the characters that were there. It really was that main character, and Hyrule. She
nailed it. Hyrule was amazing.
She was so delightful to watch, and it was said in the chat, and it was in my notes as well. So I'll say this too: her customer service is what I think that you're picking up on.
Outstanding.
It was like, thanks for calling. Your complaint has been registered, and I'm happy to assist you. But right now, I need you to comply with me.
It was so great. She was so polite.
She was polite and bubbly, but also firm. And I felt like she was dangerous until we got to where the Breen were attacking, and then I realized there's really not much to be done.
It's so interesting.
I was also kind of concerned that when Michael touched the book and kind of went into her mind state, which we should definitely talk about more too, is that there was this moment when Raynor shows up and he's like, you need to go find everything that you can about this person. And she's like, yep, I'm on it.
I'm on it. I'm going to do it. And
that also told me that it wasn't that they're so neutral that they don't care what happens, that there is a care. So I would love to have a show based here.
I hope we revisit it. Like, I hope the Starfleet Academy show revisits
fuck the Academy right here. This is where I want to be.
The whole show.
I'm genuine about this. It kind of feels like a Deep Space Nine situation. Take us out of Starfleet, put us into a place where anyone can be, and there's like a neutrality to it and respect to it, and there's so many different things you could do. I mean, think about the different archive, all the things that could be there. And then, maybe there's this mystery about what protects it. There's so much that could happen in this like little space. This is where every D&D campaign, every like D&D style campaign for Star Trek or anything, like this is a gold mine. This is a lore dump. You spend sessions in here. Just the DM is talking for hours on end about every book. Yeah, there's books and all. I mean, there's also just things. It's not just books. It's artifacts. Yeah. So I loved it.
Yep. There's something I wanted to mention, which is very cool. It's something I read online. There's a couple of different outlets and people on the Star Trek universe that have mentioned this. That's a really nice touch. And it's that each clue, now that we're at this point of the story, relates back to an iteration of Star Trek. So the Romulan notebook, obviously that Romulan was from TNG, but also it ended up inside Fred's head, and he's a Sung type android. So the first clue was from TNG.
Okay.
The next clue was in Janal Bix on Trill, and that's a big link to Deep Space Nine, because that's where we really find out about the Trill and have all the information that we know.
Right.
The ISS Enterprise is when the next clue was found, and we first saw that during the original series. The weather tower thing was built by the Denobulans, and they were introduced in Enterprise. So that's a link to Enterprise.
Oh, what? That's really clever.
Then this clue is in the Badlands, which kicked off Voyager's adventure.
So do you think, like, I mean, obviously that's on purpose. Yes. How long did it take fans to figure this out?
The rumblings I heard about it was last week when the Badlands was mentioned, because that's the fifth and final clue. And it's like, this matches the 5 Star Trek shows from
so cool.
The 90s and obviously the original series. So that's really
well
cool.
done, writers. Clever.
Although I kind of like hope the writers totally deliberate.
There's no way that's not deliberate. There's no way.
No, it has to be deliberate, because it's not even, it's one each as well. It's very, very cool.
Well, that's really, really fun. It's those kind of subtle things that they don't spell out that are really great for fans to figure out.
I love it. It's why I love that we have the internet for this stuff as well, to actually share these ideas and talk about the theories and catch that stuff. It's so fun. So fun.
Speaking of things that we don't know that we're told of in the chat, also before we move on, Lodair mentions that the library stuff was filmed in a real library in Toronto.
Love that.
That's super fucking cool. So obviously we need to go there.
Heck yeah.
So
it reminded me of this huge library in London, actually. So I'm not surprised it's a real location at all. It's very, very cool. Right. Anything else, Ambassador? Did you want to talk about Burnham's Mindscape? Was there something on that you liked?
I know we kind of talked about the book aspect, or not book aspect. But I thought this was a really interesting thing, because there's a moment when she's actually given an out. I thought that was really clever. I just wanted to touch on it real quickly, because this is obviously a really intense situation where not only is she in this device, but her mind is linked to it, and it has the power to kill her, and they can't sever the link or it would kill her. And so we know that on the outside, but she doesn't necessarily know that on the inside until she's told about it.
Yeah.
And then given consent moment. And I thought that was a really beautiful touch where it's another way to weigh someone's intent. If they're not really interested, they can back out at that moment.
Yes.
And sometimes shows when they're like, you have a life or death choice to make, it's kind of like it's too late.
Yeah, or it's a big swing, isn't it? It's like, well, you better do this now or else you're dead. And then it's a big whammy of, wait, what do you mean I'm dead?
Yeah.
Front loading that, you're right. It serves the extra purpose of adding weight to Burnham's decision to be there.
She made a choice to do what she was doing. And knowing that, like, she doesn't know what's happening. She doesn't know the Breen has arrived. I mean, she knows that they're going to be likely going to be on their tail or whatever. But I thought that was a really important kind of moment. And there's something about that moment too, where I relaxed a little bit knowing that she was a willing participant.
Yes.
In
not
this
being too
particular part.
Yeah.
There's other things that have been done in this one that there wasn't really a willing participant angle, like the Trill when they tried to kill her at the cicada brood,
not giving her all of the information at all.
That was like, oh shit, you're trying to kill them before they get to the next one. But this one seemed more important. It's obviously the last one.
Yeah.
And I also really enjoyed that you kind of thought that it was going to be a find a clue, and then you thought that it was going to be a escape the labyrinth, and then it shifted over into kind of more of an internal thought process. But I thought that was a really interesting kind of way that they did that.
Yeah, I like that too. And I think that's what I mean by, I think if we saw this in like season 2 or season 3, the entire puzzle would have been Burnham talking. It would have been
and I
Burnham
wouldn't have liked that
talking
at
to
all.
Yeah. And I think we would have felt it. But the fact that this has 3 different stages of realizations really helps with the pacing. If you are determined to make it about that final conversation, cool. At least you gave us some more before you got there.
Yeah. There also the idea that the lights were turning off as well. Just the feeling
really
of kind of
sinister,
closing in and
like a brain shutting down.
Yes. And it worked really, really well. I didn't mind that we were pairing it with the intensity of the Breen. And I think that's where we should go next is, did the Maul Breen thing work for you?
Makes less sense than ever. What the fuck is going on with the Breen? Like, I am baffled. We do want Locke. We don't want Locke. We need him. We don't need him. This Primarch, I don't think this Primarch understands what the rules are. So he was really, really determined to get... I've been trying to logic this out. And I think... Bottom line, what he was worried about was Locke, I can't say his name, Locke making a claim to the throne if he was out there in the open, even though that's not his interest. Having him under lock and key gives him way more stability and power. So it doesn't matter if he's dead or not. If he's dead and in his control, that's great. That's fine. We can carry on. But it's not well defined. Like it's the loosest part of this whole story for me. And Mole, to be honest, is just really lucky things are going her way. Like I know they try to emphasize how important tradition is to the Breen. So in the same way, like Klingons are very honor bound. So in theory, they won't do something that's dishonorable. Therefore, you can use that against them. I don't have the same background with the Breen. This feels super fucking convenient.
Well, there's that. This Primarch letting Maul on the ship in the first place, and then trying to get information out of her for this weapon, and then getting frustrated that he's not given all that information. I understand that. Like I kind of I followed that a little bit, going like, okay, I can imagine why he would let Maul on the ship, but the whole dissent amongst the troops part, and then his motivation, and then he makes promises and doesn't keep them. So it's not really honor. This particular one is I don't and because I don't have any Breen to compare him to, I'm like, nothing. Is this more Breen or was Locke more Breen? Because I thought Locke was the odd duck. So I thought that he was like the compassion that he felt, or maybe still honor bound, maybe still traditional, but
I don't think he is. I don't think he's
Yeah.
going to want to lead the Breen. This is what's baffling to me, because he is really important, because he's the heir to the throne. He is more important than any other Breen in terms of leadership, but he doesn't want it. But
Yeah.
he also isn't technically abdicating, which makes him a wanted person. So it's just that what bless them, what they're trying to do is give us Klingons and give us Romulans and give us that depth that we've had 40, 50 years to develop in 4 episodes. You didn't even give us a whole season with the Breen. You introduced that we were talking to the Breen in episode 5. You're trying to do so much lore and world building to make all of this make sense in not enough time. There is too much of a lore dump happening here for me to really feel authentic about how the Breen are acting.
Yeah, and I kind of thought in the past episodes that we were given just enough that we can kind of make our own, choose our own adventure in the future, but now they're adding more and more onto it. You know, and I think that what's obvious is that the show is trying to say that this uncle character, this Primarch or whatever, Primarch is a little too much for the Breen even. And so the soldiers are not enjoying, or at least not all of them are enjoying, and one just happens to be right by her side, that he is subverting their beliefs about staying true to your word specifically. Like, he said that he was going to keep the archives alive, and then he doesn't do that. And so Maul, in kind of the climax there, says essentially, like, you're starting a war. Yeah. You're also splitting up the Breen by doing this, and you need this weapon. And then she fucking kills him, which honestly I was glad for.
Well, he's useless, isn't he? Like, he has
seems like it.
This is the downside of the helmets thing, because everyone looks the same. Like, yeah, I know that his actions speak louder than prosthetics and whatnot, but he's just this evil. No, he's just a mannequin. He's just a mannequin of evil. Fine, kill him. I have no investment there. And
I wanted him to shut up, so I was okay with it.
Exactly. He is purely there to have the head-turning moments of the crew, where they're just like, oh, he wants us to destroy the thing? Oh, that's not fair. Oh, he's really bad. And that is just enough believability for when Mol kills him, for them not to all turn on her and kill her. Because, oh yeah, no, we kind of agree with him dying. That's the only reason he's there. But he's so one-dimensional. He's just, there is nothing interesting about him. It's just man kicks puppy.
Yeah.
Breen kicks baby. There's nothing else in there.
The show is trying to pull a lot of weight to explain their history to us, explain their passion to us, explain their too much, too far to us, while also not defining too much at the same time.
Yeah.
But really what we want to know is that Maul is now in a very interesting situation where she has just somehow become leader of the Breen. I don't believe it. I don't believe this is possible.
No.
I
don't think it'll be temporary.
Obviously, the Breen are designed that they're so invested in the possibility that their scion can return, that they're willing to do certain things to get there. And one of them is apparently put their trust into this human because she has bound herself to the scion. And so there's just some questions about, well, she's a human. We don't want to take her seriously. She's not a Breen. So I kind of like, part of it I'm in on and I'm excited about. And part of it I'm just like, I don't understand it. So I can't really care too much. And I feel 100%. Like that's where the show is failing more than in other places, because I think I'm supposed to care a little more than I do, but mostly because I want to understand the enemy, because they seem, by all intents and purposes in my eyes, it seems like they really should be winning the day easily.
Yeah, they are super duper powerful is what we're getting. There's another good comparison, and I think this is why the Mole thing should be exciting to me, but isn't. The idea of a human leading an alien species is really interesting, because I was like, how did that happen? The thing is, we've done it already, and we did it really, really well, because Tasha's daughter turns up as a really, really important person in the Romulan Empire. And it's like, wait, how did how is that Tasha? How did she get in with the Romulans? How did that happen? And this is with the Enterprise B, where Tasha goes into the alternate timeline to save the day and goes into the past. The ship gets blown up, and Guinan is like, "You're not meant to be here, and I know that you're supposed to be dead." So she goes and helps the older Enterprise, and then gets kidnapped by a Romulan, has a baby. And her baby is now like a really important person in the Romulan Empire. So, sorry, Enterprise C, not Enterprise B. But the point is, it took Tasha's daughter, Sela, her entire life to be accepted by the Romulans, to get into a position of power, to become essentially, I think, head of the Tal Shiar. And I get it. Like the entire arc of her makes sense. Molly's achieving this in minutes.
I know. That's why I don't like it. That's why I said earlier,
quick.
It's like,
It's
the human character gets to, isn't it so lucky that someone that looks just like me who's watching the show has somehow is holding up this weapon and chanting for Caesar or whatever the fuck is going on.
Planet of the Apes.
Right, yes. I did think that it was interesting because this actor that's playing Maul knows how to emote. I have seen her angry.
Yeah,
I have seen her sad. But when she picked up that weapon and raised her arm and was looking at the Breen, I saw fear. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. I saw her going like, she knows that the next thing is either going to make her or break her.
Yeah, I think
I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's how I interpreted that scene. And I did like that part because there was a little bit of, what's the word? Reality in that moment. It wasn't so over the top that she believes that she will succeed as much as she's just doing anything she can to survive.
This was a swing
and
it was my only
back.
choice.
But I thought she looked afraid, and I really liked that choice. If it was purposeful, it's even better. So. Yeah. Because she had that little hesitation in her eyes, and I've seen her emote like confidence and like, I don't know, she knows how to tell me what the character is thinking. And so I thought it was on purpose, but it just looked like she was looking to this Breen in a way of this now or never for this next step. And I don't know that we're going to get any scenes in next episode of Maul talking to this new Breen kind of leader person that she's alongside of to have a little bit of strategy on how to lead the Breen to the weapon and is she the leader? I mean, clearly I think that she's leading them.
Yeah,
she's in charge.
Yes. Yeah, it won't be permanent.
No, not at all. But it's right now it is. And I think that that's kind of an interesting position. I don't know if I believe that it would actually happen, but it is interesting to watch it happen.
Wait, you wouldn't believe that this alien stuff with ancient artifacts and spaceships, you don't think it's realistic? No, I'm glad you mentioned that because it is a really great moment, and she really, really does sell it.
I love
it's a lot. It's just
that
it's
character,
not the
though,
same.
Is powerful. Yeah, she's incredible. There's some really fun characters in the show.
Yeah, I mean, season's really strong for that.
We've said it before. I think maybe those that are watching this series might be feeling like they're missing more of their beloved characters, kind of having more of the screen time because there is so much dedicated to this particular story arc. But I'm really enjoying it.
That's good.
So yeah, I really like this episode. Awesome. Let's also talk about visual stuff before we move on. Is that okay?
Yeah, I was going to get into the discoveryness of it all in the battle.
I have said this. I have to say it again. How
you hate
fucking
the sport
sexy is this ship?
Oh, it's so great,
it's
isn't it?
So skinny.
It's
just
a
like a razor
design.
thin, sort of like you can just, as if it was a paper airplane, it's just gonna sail. It's so fucking pretty.
It's like you could put it on water and it would just float. It's so pretty, and the nacelles glowing blue. It is a beautifully designed ship, and this is
it the sexiest ship?
It's not the sexiest. No,
which one's the sexiest ship in your opinion?
It's still the fat one. It's still the Enterprise D.
You like a little chunk in the dunk? Because
the chunky chunk.
I think it's the Discovery.
Sexiest ship is the Enterprise E.
No.
Without a doubt.
I don't know what that looks like. I'm just saying no because I think it's this ship.
I can show you. It looks like this.
It's on your arm.
It's on my arm. That is the sexiest ship. That is sleek. That is a torpedo. That is a beautiful. It's that or the Enterprise B. The Enterprise B is my second favorite. It's very sleek, very beautiful.
So yours is the E. Yours is the Enterprise. Okay, I gotta look up a picture. I'm gonna disrupt.
It's on my arm.
That is a schematic that is not giving me a 3-dimensional understanding of what the Enterprise E looks like.
I did ask for that, and they said we can't do that. I'm sorry.
Can you imagine if you add and you wanted like dermal implants so that it just popped out of like instead of a bicep, you just had like a ship on your arm?
Yeah,
that's stupid, Ian.
It'd be amazing. I would do it.
Not
do it all the way.
Okay, that is a really sexy ship.
Thank you. Isn't it?
Yeah, no, I can see. Well, it has the nostalgia going for it pretty hardcore because it has that. Yeah, I mean, I understand the saucer sections on the Discovery as well, but this has a little bit of that nostalgia bump. I can see why you like this one.
It's so pretty,
and it kind of has that thinness to it too, where it's sort of elongated.
Yeah, the really long nacelles.
It's hard because I feel like when you pick a ship, what you're saying is you're picking a show. You know what I mean?
That's why it's great, because the Enterprise E is only in the movies. So I don't have to commit to a show. It is a TNG ship. So yeah, I guess it would be TNG that I'm picking.
I'm looking up the ships that are also in the chat. There's
You're
Defiant.
Gonna hate Defiant. You won't like the Defiant.
I'm gonna look it up, but instead I just Googled the word Defiant.
That's not gonna work.
Lots of articles on Defiant children.
Yes.
I need to add in Star Trek to really the Defiant. Wow, that looks like the game Bop It, Slap It, Hit It, or what's the game? The Simon game from like the 90s where you
I don't know.
Do you know where you had to like touch the different colors in the right order? That's what this looks like.
Yep, it's that. Try the Enterprise B.
Okay.
That's one of my other favorites.
Enterprise B. I apologize to you podcast listeners because I really can't define these ships for you. This one looks like a duck, like where it's the chest is sort of under the water and like the like.
Oh no, I can see that.
Yeah, it's got it's got a real broad chest.
Yeah, it's beautiful though.
I mean, kinda. For probably what it is, I'm telling you, I'm really struggling. I think the sleekness of the Discovery, I think I'm sold. There's a moment in this episode when it drops out of its funky warp thing, and I was like, oh. I literally, it caught my breath.
The debris appeared.
No, it looked like absolute dog shit at that part. What the?
When it arrives at the library?
It's so good. It looks so pretty, and I know that it's like the way that it's designed is just like meant to be really unique. But it's like, I think because it sort of goes out like wings, almost like a predatory bird when it's diving, where it kind of tucks its wings and just like flies in.
It's so good. It's so good. I was just about to say this. You've just looked up the Enterprise B. The next ship I want you to look up is radically different from the Enterprise B, and it's the Excelsior.
Okay, Excelsior.
It's totally different.
Is it the Excelsior class or is it Excelsior?
Yeah, the Excelsior class. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally different from the Enterprise B.
Also very bubbly. You know, it has that it has what I would call the mama tummy. Where after you've had a baby, you kind of like stretch out. And if you wanted to go back, you have to do something called working out.
No.
Or maybe you're just genetically gifted. But like I have like where when I stand up, my belly kind of just naturally curves out now because I have been overstretched like a balloon. And so that's what this one looks like. This is a post-pregnancy class. That's what I'm saying.
That was the original name originally. Oh, my joke was that they look very similar. They look almost identical. The Enterprise B and the Excelsior.
They do look really similar. Yeah. They got the belly. I mean, all these ships are beautiful. I'm just saying that this particular episode, there's just some really beautiful exterior shots. Once again, I'm not surprised. But we have like this Breen fight. We have the Breen burrowing a hole into the archive.
Yeah,
there's just some gorgeous shit going on here.
It's very, very beautiful. And the Badlands, like the lightning and the plasma storms that are going on. It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful ship. And a beautiful show.
It really, really is. I think that the audio works for me too. If there's something really, that little thing that it does, that's a terrible example.
What, when it comes out of the
when it's spore
drive?
spore funk.
Yes.
It just seems like it's dissolving on itself and it's really uncomfortable.
Yes.
But the more that I hear it, the more I'm like, I kind of like that. And then like
you hated it to begin
the
with.
sounds I did,
journey.
it really made me uncomfortable. It still makes me uncomfortable. Like when it comes on the screen, it does not arrive in any way it's supposed to.
No, it's so weird.
It's like parts of it come in first. It's not even fully formed yet. It's so fucking crazy.
I want to know what happens when you're in the ship. Like that just must be a mess.
Like if you're walking down the hallway, it's like your leg arrives in one moment and then like the rest of you just connects to it later. It's very uncomfortable to watch, but I really like it.
I love
it's
it.
just a really beautiful episode. I thought this episode was really, really well done. And I would watch it again. Actually, this is one I kind of want to see again. There's a couple things that happen in this one that I really would want to go back and kind of look at. I would want to watch this episode on a 85-inch 8K QLED TV because those little details of the childlike Empress's tower have got to be beautiful.
Oh, it will be,
I want that as a desktop background. It's so fucking pretty. Okay.
I wish I was watching it on Aaron's TV. I couldn't this time.
My God.
I was on like a little monitor. I was like, I bet that looks really pretty on the television.
Next time Aaron goes out of town, I should just go over and just take his TV and see if he notices.
He will notice 100%, but I don't think he will do anything about it. I think he'd be happy that you were enjoying it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to finish up, I do like the ending of the episode with Reese in command of the ship as well and evading the Breen. I thought the crew working together and seeing them evade the Breen was really fun as well. I thought it was nicely done.
That was a really clever part too. Also, I should say, is like not only did the Breen arrive, but then the Discovery had to hide, and they did a really great job of hiding and solving a problem, and then coming out and drawing fire. And there was interesting stuff going on. It was very cat and mouse while also just sitting inside the mystery confidently, and the time is ticking. And I felt like what was at stake this time differently. It wasn't just the Discovery, it was like the archives. And I think that's the idea. What a clever thing to put right here in our minds before we get towards the finale is this weapon could destroy everything. And here's an example of what it could destroy. But it's not the weapon destroying it. It's the person at the helm of the weapon that's going to destroy it. And the Breen are very easily, or at least this uncle character.
This Primarch,
Yeah, he would have been willing to destroy anything to have this power. And so I felt it more in this one, I feel like, which probably makes me a bad person in some degree. Because
I was about to say, it's quite telling that we care more about the library than we do people.
It's
but
like
I felt it. It would have felt like a real loss if this place had been destroyed.
I kind of thought maybe that they would do it also. Like, it was
I'd
sort
been
of
mad.
They did take damage.
Yeah.
But it's like whenever I was little and I saw animals dying on screen, and it just hits different. Because there's an innocence in the character of the archive. So I think they did a good job of it not making it just about people, but about like the characters, the things that exist outside of culture that preserve every culture. And they made a character out of this archive where all cultures can come together, which is what this weapon could protect.
It's
or
a really
destroy.
cool idea.
Yeah, it was really, really clever.
It's a nice, nice symbolism, nice metaphor for the wider context of the weapon. Yeah, I'm really you've swung me around on it. I liked it better. I think I got a little bit focused on the disappointment between having another Burnham conversation again, and the fact that the mystery still doesn't make sense. The clue isn't guaranteeing what you think it's going to guarantee. But overall, I think it's a really well-constructed episode, a really fun adventure. Overall, Pips Ambassador.
Oh, we're doing Pips again all of a sudden?
Yeah, let's do it.
We haven't done Pips in a while, but I'm going to give this one 4.
We only missed it last week because you were sick, and I'm going to blame you.
Oh, I'm not surprised. Yeah.
What would last week's episode be?
Considering I don't remember it at all.
Yeah. 2 Pips.
What was last week's episode?
This was where it was
Mullen Locke died.
Oh, Eriga, with the Breen at the starbase, the fancy swirly starbase, and they have to negotiate, and then,
I think 2.
Yeah, I give it 2.5. I liked what they did with the Breen in that episode. I liked it more than.
I think 2, maybe for last week.
One. Probably give this one 3. I think slightly better.
Yeah,
you can go higher if you want.
Well, I'm giving it 4. I really liked it. Yeah.
Shouldn't give it that much.
Well, again, I haven't spent as much time with the characters.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
It's got to
Totally
be
fair.
like if you live in the same city as like a theme park and
Yes.
you've gone there your whole life.
Yeah.
And so you're like, yeah, it's okay.
Bit
But then
samey.
someone comes to town like, that was fucking awesome. It's like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
your first time going. Go 700 times and tell me that again.
Tell me in
kinda like
20
that.
years. Yeah. Yep. I'll stay with 3 pips. I'll give it 3 pips. Okay. With that, let's head over to engineering. Black Alert.
I love that the chat, it gives the pips, and sometimes they're so different.
I love that. I love the spectrum
Like,
that we get.
it looks
across
like
the
chat
board.
didn't like the episode as much as I did. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, well, I
Holy
didn't like
shit.
it as much as you did.
Wow.
Yeah. Wait, I just remembered I have my. Where is it? There we go.
Black alert. Black alert. Black alert.
Pippage.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV show is about sin, even our beloved Star Trek. We talked a lot about the fundamentals of this episode, so let's do some nitpicky stuff.
Let's talk about how much sand is in that bucket. I was so distracted. When
But
she
it's
starts to walk
imaginary.
away, it doesn't matter. When she starts to
Imaginary.
walk away, and it's just like, whoa. You just dumped most of the sand in your first pile. You need to be like slow roll with that, babe. Like you have a huge labyrinth to get through. Conserve your resources. I don't care if this is your imagination or not. It was really distracting to me. And because sins are just silliness, that's my first sin.
No, Danae, this is a bucket of sand that was pulled from an imaginary man's cloak.
I hate it.
It was refillable,
I hate it.
I think.
It's coarse. It gets everywhere.
Yeah, no Star Wars in my Trek, thank you. My first one was just do what Hyrule says. So
Oh my God. Just fucking
Oh,
cut your
just-
engines.
fucking cut the engines. Do it. This isn't a choice. Like, stop goosing the tension, you drama mongerers. It was so annoying. Hyrule was just like, you need to follow my instructions exactly, and if you don't, I can't be responsible for anything that happens. And then it was like, we can't cut the engines. That's outrageous. And
Yeah,
Cut the
that's one of my
engines.
sins too. It's like, why did you take so long? Because she was so clear. I'm not responsible for your death. Just fucking do it.
she's like, you haven't. Burnham says she hasn't led us astray so far. You haven't given her chance to lead you astray. This is her first time straying you.
Well, that was one of my sins. So I will go to the next one that I wrote down, and then I'm probably gonna have to go to the chat because I don't have many. I was really enjoying this one.
Good.
I think I already mentioned this one, but just her not even attempting to read the book really bothered me.
Yeah, reading
Just read,
books.
but it turns out reading, they didn't even have that as part of the plot anyway. So,
My next one was this is I think I need a bit more information about the archive because please. Hyrule says it's our responsibility to look after artifacts and to keep them safe, especially like endangered species and planets that aren't around anymore.
Yeah, it was something about cultures that have been destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Having said that, feel free to take the tree and do whatever you want with it. No, he doesn't get to keep the tree. Keeping
Why
a
not?
record that Quajon existed is
Says
more
the man from
important.
England. Let's just think. Let's just consider where you come
Yes,
from, where
I am
you
a
guys are
hoarder,
used to just
yes.
taking everything from every culture and not giving it back. I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
No,
we're-
give
we're
it back.
We're keeping it because you can't be
Give it back.
trusted to look after it.
You don't know
we're
that.
I know. We're keeping it safe.
This
the point
just
is-
looks terrible for you.
This is not a good look.
This is
It's
really bad.
not. But on the side of the colonizers, no. There are no Quajons. There are very few Quajons left. So it's safer that, and Book shouldn't take it. The only reason Book is taking it is so that they can rebirth the planet and do the thing with the weapon to
Yes.
it. He should want to keep it at the archive so that future generations know that Quajon existed.
I mean, listen, I
What good is
understand.
it to
I
him? He's gonna
understand.
put it on his mantle.
I am
Doesn't
a
even have a
collector.
mantle.
I come from a collector family. I come from an archivist family.
Your
I had that.
species isn't dead yet.
I had that same thought just like click through my mind, like, no, it's safe here. You know, keep it,
It
so that.
is.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, how beautiful to return it where it belongs. Like
She hasn't done that. She's given it to a stranger.
she's given it to one of the last people that exists in this culture. It is
He could be
his.
horrible.
It belongs to him.
He does not. It belongs to the planet that doesn't exist anymore. It belongs to the galaxy now.
Wow.
Yeah, that annoyed
wow.
me, and it's annoyed me more now that I've talked about it.
Wow.
Bad choices being made everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Your turn.
Wow. I don't know what the sin is, but I wrote it down. Let me see. Let me read the context around it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what this note means, so I'm gonna just skip
Just
that
read
one.
it.
This is the thing he didn't want, but it's an errorum. And I don't know if I just like had my fingers on the wrong keys when I wrote that last word.
I have
don't know
no
what that means.
context about
Yeah,
what
I don't
any
know.
of that means.
It's obviously a sin though.
Yeah,
know.
ding it. Ding it. Ding
obviously
the
a
heck out of
sin.
it.
My sin, I already mentioned. How very human of us to really be supposedly rooting for Maul to do this.
Oh yeah, that is the sin.
How very human of us, the viewers, to be like, yeah, go Maul.
Where is your humanity?
People that look like us should be in charge. Fuck that.
Right? This was one of the dumbest moments in the episode. Book, sir, you're an intelligent man. And so Burnham, Dr. Culber has said, hey, she's in a mind palace. The program is in her brain. She can't get out of it. There's a neural link. It's running a program in her head. Book runs over and presses the thing. I'm going to go in there and rescue her. How do you know that's not just going to start a new program in your head?
Oh my God, you're so right. This reminds me of a story. Aaron and I were once traveling for work, and so we rented a car. And he was driving, and it was one of those
I know this story. Yeah,
push button start cars, which are super fancy. Whenever we were driving at the time, they were super fancy. And we're just driving, and he just casually says, start cars are different. They make me nervous. Like, what if you push the button? I, within 10 seconds, just go boop, and I push the button while we're on the interstate going like 70 miles an hour. It is like that. That's exactly what this moment is like. Like, you don't.
It's so dumb. You don't know what it's going to do.
In my head, I'm like, there's no way they would just have it be like when you're driving, you can push the button and the car just shuts off.
Of course not. No. Yeah.
So
how many people died in that crash?
It was so stupid, and oh my God, I have never seen Aaron afraid like that.
Oh
he
my
was
God.
So,
I imagine
he had so many emotions happen at the same time,
all
and
at once,
I was just cackling like an idiot.
My goodness.
Meanwhile, Book's over there pushing buttons. Me and Book, man, maybe we're more.
The logic behind it doesn't work for me because, okay, maybe it sends you in there, but I think it's way more likely that it kicks off your own simulation and then you have two people out of action.
Yeah, he assumed he'd be able to go in and get her. Like, well, hello, how do you know you're going to be transported into her mind?
You're talking about your consciousness being teleported into her brain. Like, that's just
right.
Why would you think that?
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Here's a sin from the chat. So we're doing the inner light. That came up so many times during the show today. I don't know what that means.
So I will just describe the episode of TNG.
Okay.
The spaceship discovers an artifact. The artifact then knocks out the captain of the ship and makes them live an entire separate mindscape.
What? That sounds very familiar.
Sounds very familiar. Yeah, there's an episode where the Enterprise finds an artifact and this bubble scanner thing is like sent out. It touches Picard's head.
Oh, I think I remember that.
Yeah, and he's forced to live the entire adult life.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
Person. And the idea is remember us. Like, this species is now extinct.
Yes.
Take our memories forward.
I remember that one. That was a really interesting one.
He gets a Vesican flute, but I can't remember the name of the people. Someone will tell me. So yeah. We've done this a few times.
Your turn.
Yeah. My turn. Yeah, we talked about how this clue isn't guaranteeing a villain doesn't get hold of it. We did that. Okay, this is interesting. The progenitor map. So the final clue, when it's all put into places, they throw up the map. When they throw it up on Discovery, there are numbers, coordinates. When the Breen activate it and throw it up, there are numbers, there are coordinates, still in English. why is this thing in English? So I assumed maybe it was when it was in Discovery, it knows that it's surrounded by people that speak Federation Standard, which is English. On the Breen ship, I don't know why all of these different scientists from different cultures, different species are using English numbers, even if it's Federation Standard. And it was very clearly like just not just Earth numbers, English numbers, 1 through 10. So yeah, it didn't feel weird.
Yeah,
I wanted to see
that
it
is
in
interesting.
Yeah.
Well, or see it in like some other like some of the
Something
language that
completely
they had to
different,
scan or something and like interpret. At the very least, it should have been English on the Discovery and then Breen on the Breen ship.
Yeah, that would have. I could have bought that because okay, it's just adapting to its environment. Fine.
Chat says Federation scientists created it Federation Standard.
Correct. Still bullshit. I still don't buy it. I'm still calling bullshit on it.
Whoa. I'm gonna go back into the chat because I am out. How many more do you have?
I have a couple more. I got one big one I want to talk about.
Hey.
Flyboy, stop it. Don't encourage her.
David said, Sin, imagining a mind library that still uses card catalogs in the Dewey Decimal System
Hey,
in
look,
32nd century.
Once you find a system that works, you just keep everything's from Earth, apparently. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, like that. This is kind of similar to the language thing from the progenitor tech. Fine, it was made by Federation scientists. They decided to make it in English, whatever. However, there's no real reason for the Breen to be speaking English. And I think this is a really missed opportunity. I know they say at the beginning of the episode, the Primarch is like, I will speak in your language to honor that you are the husband of the Scions.
Even though he hates her.
Even though he hates it. It's some bullshit. The Breen don't. And this is where I think there's a missed opportunity. The Breen, one of the cool things about the Breen, and I'm not saying that you can't change things and you can't evolve them over time, but we have never heard the Breen, to my knowledge, speak a single word of English until now. One of the interesting mysteries about them is that we never saw under the mask, and that gobble, 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 gobble noise was all that we heard from them. Just gobble, 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 gobble. Like the universal translators couldn't get anything out of it. And I kind of like that mystery. And I think considering the villain is so fucking blank to anyway, the only character we get from them is their voice. That's it. But you may as well just keep it gobble, 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 gobble. And then the subtitles tell us what's going on and somebody translates for Mole. That's fine. But I think that's more insidious if they refuse to speak English. Yeah, I refuse to entertain you. We're speaking Breen because that's what we've always done. Because it just kind of makes me think, well, then why the fuck were they only speaking Breen in DS9? And I get it. Things change. It's fine. But I think there is a story element there that could have been satisfied by keeping the gobble, gobble, gobble.
Yeah, I can understand that. That would have been an interesting choice for sure.
Yeah.
Sci-Fi Brony says, Sin, you're telling me that this whole episode and thus the season arc hinged on Michael and Book's relationship bullshit? I think that there's a point to be made about this, but there's also a point to be made about Michael trying to just talk about like her own feelings. I don't know if it hinged on it, but it certainly was part of the inspiration for it. So
yeah,
I can see how you'd want to send that. And I think that Ian would want to send that too.
It's clearly what the show wants to do. The show wants to focus on Michael and her building relationships. Fine. But I don't have to enjoy it. If that's your choice, cool, go for it. Executed well, it's not for me.
Yeah. Any other sins?
Rayna, I kind of argue that Rayna shouldn't leave the ship.
Oh.
Captain Burke's already down. Why is it just the next most important person goes down to the ship? Stop.
So he could die.
But he
didn't die.
It's an incredible mix of micromanaging while also not managing the thing you're supposed to manage. Because he's micromanaging the thing on the archive. Nothing he did there couldn't have been done remotely. But he's not managing. He's letting go of the reins of Discovery, which does need a leader. And Reese is great. Maybe it's just that they have a lot of confidence in Reese.
That's what I was thinking, is that it's for the benefit of us seeing that Reese is capable.
And that's fine, but I just think logically, you've already got the captain out of action. Rayna's place is on the ship. And I know we don't have the same rules that we have for TNG. Like during this time period, they were way more loose about the captain going on away missions and whatnot. but it's just like, Rayna, get on the ship. You don't need to be down here, buddy.
Yeah.
Was my instinct. But yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, with that, some amazing sins in the live show. Feel free to send us your sins via email as well if you want to vent. I've had a couple of people email that said, I don't care if you read this or not. I just needed to vent because we didn't have a live show last week. I just need to vent my sins, and it's appreciated.
Yeah, we actually had someone in the chat who was giving us a sin from Discord from another person that couldn't make the live show.
Oh,
which is really, really sweet. So Polly on Discord through Wandering says the sin is the Primarch is just Ceres from the Galaxy Quest, which I think is
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Well, we love you guys. That's amazing. Let's head over to the captain's ready room to do some predictions. Oh wait, hang on. I got that.
Ooh, pretty sparkles.
Exactly. This is the part of the note. Welcome to the Captain's Ready Room, where we hear our predictions for the rest of the season and bask in our Q-like glory for anything that we've previously predicted has come true. Well done, Sci-Fi Brony. There was a reference to book and the name book. I was like, oh, it's funny that a book is visiting you.
Oh, that was clever, wasn't it? It's visiting me for once.
Yeah, well done. They had to do it. I'm glad they did. I think it would have been a missed opportunity if they hadn't. So well predicted. We have not found out that Moll is pregnant yet. So we don't know about that.
But we will when we find out that she is not going to bring Locke back so that Discovery can have their win.
Oh, you think she's gonna? Because there was a twinge when she found out that Discovery was destroyed.
Yeah,
she did have like a sad twinge. So there is humanity in her.
Yeah, I feel like if it's just like this weapon can only be used once and it's done forever. Like this weapon is used once and then destroyed. Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't think that's it.
Well, but if that's it, because
right, yeah.
Let's say that they turn this weapon on, and then it just exists forever, and that someone has it to do whatever they want with. Then that seems like it's too powerful. So I think the show might present that this is a one-time kind of a use thing.
I think it has to, but that's not what's been implied. It's been implied that this technology will be great for the universe once the universe is ready to have it, or once the galaxy is ready to have it. If it's one and done, that doesn't make sense.
Or once every millennia.
Maybe, but
like it's like it has to charge.
Yeah, oh my goodness, that'd be anticlimactic, wouldn't it? Yeah, so we'll see you in 300 years once it's got its batteries back up.
But it also would be really interesting because they're going to use it, and so maybe it's like we need to use it so the Breen can't use it. So we have to use this tech for good, and so they're going to bring back Book's planet.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
so that way the Breen don't use it for the wrong reasons. So they just use it first. And I wonder if Maul will let Locke go because she knows she doesn't want to lead, and maybe somebody else would be better at it or whatever. And then she has her little baby, and then, because women have to have children to live happily ever after in television movies.
It has to be. Yeah. They have to have a partner. Yeah.
If we're not mothers, what are we?
Right. What are you even doing? How dare you focus on a career? It might be that the Breen that's being nice to her might be the one that takes over, because she has like a little Breen ally that was kind of like nodding to her every now and again.
Yeah.
I bet they're going to be related to Locke. That's my prediction.
Or it's like Breen. 400 years later, or how long do Breen live?
Oh, well, we don't know, but we assume the same as humans.
So if it's like, so then you fast forward 30 years and it's like, Maul has raised Locke baby, and then he's leading.
And he's leading.
Because he can't be a she and lead. We know that. Because women also can't be leaders.
No. That's just chaos. You're far too emotional.
I know.
I don't think we'll be doing a time jump at the end of this. Just to be clear, that was a joke. I don't think I sold that way too well. I don't think we'll be doing a time jump at the end of this. I think that might be a bit weird.
Those of us who know you were just joking.
I hope so. You see me. My other prediction was right. Probably an obvious one. A mind labyrinth was happening. It wasn't a literal, well, there was a literal labyrinth, but it was more about mind labyrinth thing. But we both guessed that. In terms of next week, Ambassador, the title is Lagrange Point.
Lagrange?
Yes. Do you know what the Lagrange Point is?
No.
I think, and I know we have NASA people that watch, or at least one, and we have a scientist that watches. The Lagrange point, I think, is the point
where water boils.
No. It's the point where an object goes into orbit. I think it's part of like Earth's gravitational pull. So I think the perfect point where you can stay in orbit without the orbit decaying and you keep going around. I think. I'm waiting for somebody to confirm or deny that in the chat so that I can edit this and sound really smart.
Somebody bullshit him then.
In celestial mechanics, the Lagrange points are points of equilibrium for small mass objects under the gravitational influence of two massive orbiting bodies. So I think it's the point between the Earth and the Moon then. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So so there's a point between the Earth and the Moon where gravity would... No! Where gravity would keep you in one place. So instead of being pulled to the Earth or pulled to the Moon, you'd stay in that exact point because the gravity of the Moon and the Earth is cancelling each other out. So you would just hover between the two of them.
Cool.
So I think that's going to obviously be how they get to the final weapon, is by manipulating two big bodies and manipulating gravity to get through the things.
Or that's where it is. It is in that middle spot.
Yeah.
So they have to find a way to get to it without getting pulled into different gravities.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really hopeful because that feels like we're going to get a lot of Discovery flying around, which is making Danae make strange noises because she's like, yeah, we're going to get a lot of that next week.
Why? Because it's going to be popping in and out of places?
But yeah, exactly. But there is this interesting thing about like low energy states. So when you're in a Lagrange point and you stay there, you don't need to use a lot of energy. It's like this point of harmony. So maybe there's a metaphor there between these things all living in harmony and unison and relying on each other for this delicate balance, which is what you need to have this technology.
So someone in chat, Kachar, I believe, Kachar said there's 5 of them and there's also 5 pieces of the puzzle. So maybe that's part of it too.
Oh, interesting. That's really cool. Oh, I like that.
Definitely
nice.
A balance thing for sure. So I'm here for it. Do we find out that she's pregnant next week? Yep.
Yeah. Does Raina die next week?
Yep.
I think Book dies.
Oh, I hope so. Actually, no, I really hope that Book is able to...
Book's great.
Like, bring his planet back. That'd be really fucking cool. I'm really sad about it. I want space druids.
Bring the space druids back. I think that will hit it for our predictions. 2 episodes left. Are you excited for the finale?
Yeah, I think so. I'm more curious than excited, to be honest with you, because I've really enjoyed, like I said last week, I really enjoyed the story of this season, but making it the end of a series, I don't get that feeling. And so I'm curious how they're going to try to bring that feeling into fruition for probably the final episode. And I'm guessing it's going to feel forced, but I'm here for it because it's a beautiful thing to witness. I mean, Star Trek should be celebrating that they had another show for people to enjoy, that 100%. It looks this beautiful. I like the characters. I'm glad that I'm only watching the final season. Honestly, I don't think I would have wanted to spend a lot of time like hearing you talk about the continual like things going on. I don't know that I would enjoy this that much because I don't like leaning on relationship tropes in my shows. I'm really enjoying like the Strange New Worlds vibe where it's a monster a week kind of a thing. That's really fun for me.
Yeah, it is. I think you'd be exhausted by the previous seasons of Discovery.
So
after having it each time. Yeah. Well, that's it. I'm curious as well. I'm really happy that we have an iteration of Star Trek with it's got to be like 50 episodes or more. Might be
that's impressive.
12 episode seasons.
I hope they're celebrating. It's such a cool thing.
It's really great. It hasn't been cancelled. It's concluded. It's had a good run. I'm looking forward to seeing how they finish it. Of course, I'm most excited for episode 10 and for those extra bits that wrap up some loose ends and tell us what's happening next. I'm excited for that. Well, If you have any predictions, any thoughts, anything you'd like to share with us, get in touch with the show. captainspod@cinemasins.com is the best place to contact us, or discord.gg/cinemasins to join in with the Star Trek nerds. We will be kicking off a new theme in 2 weeks.
Are we going to do a new theme, or are we going to revisit the last theme because we didn't spend enough time in time travel for your
I would love to go back and do some more time travel. I really, really would. So there's a good chance we'll do that. I have a list of themes that you've already sent to me. If there's anything you feel really strongly about, email us in those.
Because one of the things that we're going to do is where we have me just start to describe something like a random storyline, and then Ian has to find an episode that goes along with it. So we might be doing that.
Yeah, that would be really, really fun. We might do that for a few weeks and then go back into time travel, because we have a lot to hit on time travel. Or we might just do the best of both worlds, because I love that and we haven't done it yet. Well, with that, thanks for joining us, everyone. I hope you had a good time. We will see you next week, and until then, the Enterprise doesn't have a dungeon. It's more of an oubliette.
Oh, shit from me. Because I forgot.
Wait, Raina says, oh shit, that works.
Does he really?
Yeah, he said shit, because like the
Did he say oh shit
thing. I think he might just say well shit or
okay.
Shit. It was close. I'll take it.
No. I just need to look. I forgot to highlight it. I'm sorry. Hold on. I guess I'll do this one. And it's "The mind doesn't lie" from me.
It does. Live long and prosper. There was another little moment when it was like you guys weren't messing around when like with the clue. I was like, how serious like the clue. Burnham was saying like how serious the clue was, and I was like, wow, that secret was really hard. I was like, no, it wasn't. No, you guys weren't messing around. They literally were messing around with you. Yeah, gelatinous asshole was one of my backups. Yeah.
There was a question. This is a good one, and then you might even include it in the show. Question from the chat: how are you feeling, Captain? Because way back, you didn't want to do Discovery.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest hesitation was naively just trying to be kind to Danae and not chuck her in. But I wanted to. But she wanted to, and it's beautiful, and she did great, and I think it's worked really, really well. I'm really, honestly, truly glad we've done this, and largely because it's nice to see modern Star Trek as well. Like we only have Strange New Worlds really at the minute in terms of live action, and the show is just beautiful. Like just visually, it's great. So yeah. I'm happy.
Hi, how is the chat feeling? I'm going to turn it back around for the chat, and I know that you guys are representing people who are here and not here, so just a general question, and just for yourselves, have you enjoyed this season of Captain's Pod? Because it is the Discovery, which is a bit controversial because people kind of don't tend to like it as much as others. So how has it been for you? I'm having a great time with it personally. I really like seeing all of the different like technology and this idea of like the futuristic Star Trek going like into the future, like we talked about, and learning through watching the final season about the show. I think it's just enough backstory that we're covering like the main things we need to cover, like how they got there and the spore drive stuff. Like we didn't have to spend a lot of time in it to make it make sense for me. So I'm tracking pretty well. I'm not lost, I don't feel.
No, I think you're doing great. I think, like I said before, this season has done a great job of being very kind to people that haven't watched any Discovery. This has kind of been the perfect season to watch Discovery, because it's also referring back to a lot of previous iterations of Star Trek, which is exactly the purpose of this show, is to introduce other iterations of Star Trek and reignite that fandom. So it's been oddly, eerily perfect. So I have zero regrets about it, honestly. And it's probably, I think overall it's going to be my third favorite season of Discovery overall. It's just depending on how they stick the landing. Overall, it has been really, really strong. It's
not been bad. I'm a little nervous about the final wobble. You know, like in gymnastics, whenever like you're watching someone do a pretty good routine, you're like, oh, here it comes. We got to stick the landing, and then You just don't know if there's going
Yeah.
to be like an ankle break. So I'm a little bit
Yeah.
there.
I've got to say, I've enjoyed it more than most of Picard.
I've enjoyed Captain's Pod, but this season of Discovery has bored me to no end, and I appreciated Discovery's different take on Trek before this season. Yeah.
Interesting. I can see that.
Well, thanks
I
for
can see
sticking
that.
with us, because it is a hard thing for us to like. We
This
want
was a
to.
big swing.
It was a big swing for us because we're doing something. But like you said, Ian, this is actually the purpose of the show, is to kind of
Yeah.
like have someone that doesn't know anything about Trek. And how often do you get to really experience that like this? So
Mhm. Yeah, completely agree. And the more I think about it, the more I like that they're in the 32nd century. And I almost
I do
wish
too.
I wish they got there sooner.
yeah,
don't
but
know.
maybe they
But
didn't know that they
it's-
needed to get there until they fucked up the
I think-
storyline
I think you're right.
D&D
yeah.
style.
Yeah. I think they were like, oh, people really hate those Klingons that we made. We need to move us away from that. It's interesting.
Who wrote the Tribble joke in the boys episode with the Compound V guinea pig?
I'm 99% certain that was Daniel. That was not. I was on that script and did not write that joke.
Compound V guinea pig. I'm gonna go find out.
Yeah. It was Daniel or Jonathan, one of the two. Whoever my writing partner on that one was for, because we were sending like the name tag and the
Which
gendering
episode was it?
of it. This is season 3, episode 3.
Come on, chat.
2?
Let's see.
I don't think it was in Herogasm. I think it was the one before Herogasm. Unless I made a different triple reference.
I'll just go look and see if I can find how
'Cause
many
this
times
is-
we've said Tribble in our scripts.
Yeah, because it's quite a lot. This is where they went to Russia.
3-4, I think.
Yeah, 3-4 makes sense.
Okay. Uno momento.
She'll find it.
I try.
You do good.
Oh, thank you. Was it between the Now You're Tribble, You're Discovered in Russia lab?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That was actually one of our ghostwriters.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
That's
So,
fun.
Something
think I
that you
combined
guys
it, which
might
is
not
probably why
know
I
is
kept
we
it
have
in.
our staff writers, and then we also have some people who write for us that we employ to do like little works, and that was actually Courtney.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Courtney's
Who
good
is-
at her track references.
Yep, she's a Trek person too.
Yeah.
We just can't get away from it.
She says I can't resist but to keep it in.
I'm gonna finally answer this question from Mud of an Opossum from earlier. I think it's this new species that was from today.
The Druids? The Quajons? Or the
No.
the Afrosians?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can I show you the first Afrosian that we ever saw?
I'm kind of joking, but I don't know. There was something about her character. I guess that's more character based. Species
great. I
is a
loved
bigger
her
question.
energy. Yeah.
Is it the Trill? Is it the Trill? Is it only from Discovery, or is it any of them? Because if it's any of
All
them,
of
it's
them.
probably the Beta Zoids, right? No, it's the Vulcans. God damn it,
You
I don't
love the
know.
Vulcans.
I
gotta
don't
find
know.
This Afrosian.
I have the hardest time ranking things. So it's very, very difficult for my brain to be like, this is my number one. I usually just talk myself in circles.
So the Federation president was an Afrosian at one point. Here's the first one that we see.
So there's only been 2, you said?
To my knowledge, yeah, there's only been, this would be the third. So there was
Okay.
one that worked for Starfleet on a ship that got blown up in the voyage home, one with the whales. There was one
Okay.
that was the Federation president in Star Trek 6. And
Okay.
there's one that's popped up in books. But yeah, this will be the third one that we've seen on screen. And I will download that.
Save
picture.
it. Save it. I wanna
Save
see
that
it.
image. Save.
And while you do that, Danae, if you had time, would you watch all of Discovery? No, I would not.
Great question.
Absolutely not. No. And here's why. I'm having a good time when I don't want to ruin it. I think
Fair.
if I went back, I don't know what I would discover in Discovery that would be like worth the investment of time.
Ethan Peck, more Spock is what you would discover.
Well, that's tempting
Mm-hmm.
because he's super, super hot.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe this is something that would be good to ask Discovery fans, like people who really, really enjoy it, because I see more comments, at least in our live chat, about the hesitation to go and watch it than I do like, you have to watch this season because it's so good. It seems like it's kind of real limited in that way.
Mm.
Oh, interesting.
So that's the first one that we met.
Could you find a blurrier picture?
I could, but I decided not to.
Wow.
The better image of the
Santa Claus.
Santa. Everybody thought that was a Klingon, understandably, but it was not.
I got the little forehead ridges.
And then the Federation president, stop screen and then present and then talk you through exactly what I'm doing as a method of stalling for time, is this one. Look at him. He's the Federation president.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
something is the
interesting.
Actor. Yeah.
That is a long white beautiful hairline.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's glorious.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see now what's happening is someone signed a photo.
Yeah. So that's Kurtwood.
I thought that was part of the clothing.
Is it Kurtwood Smith? Kurtwood something?
I don't know.
Can't remember his name, but he also plays the bad guy in RoboCop. Can you fly, Bobby?
I just remembered that I have a gift for you.
Kirkwood. There we go. You have a gift for me? Oh, okay. That's interesting. He's the thingy in Voyager in Year of Hell. Krenum, the Krenum captain.
So you know that I was really into those moments, those auction sites.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Well, you said you liked something, and so I got it for you.
You did?
Yeah. And at the time, you were like, "Oh, I'd pay you back for that if you got it, but I'm not going to let you pay me back for it." So this is a script.
What is it?
This is a script.
Oh my god! Look at this. It's the Generation script. I did see that, and it's signed by Brannon Braga and Dennis McCarthy, the composer. Oh, that's so cool.
Now, this comes complete with some kind of stain on the back.
Oh, it's got blood on it.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, it has a beautiful...
Look at that, guys.
Wait, that looks like the
Wow.
Nexus. That actually looks like the Nexus is going across the back. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
It's actually got ridge. It's like so ridged.
Gross.
It's very ketchup, maybe, or like...
Generations does have a great soundtrack. Open a page.
Coming with this was the Generation soundtrack, also signed on a CD.
Yay! That's a great soundtrack. Oh,
it kind of doesn't feel like a gift because you knew about it, but did you forget about this?
I totally forgot about it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think you bought it. That's amazing. Open it up. Let's have a look. Oh, that's so fun.
It's kind of, hold on. Move my microphone.
Yeah. Ronald D. Moore and Brannon Braga. That's amazing. Look at that. Oh, I unapologetically love this movie. Oh, wait. Hold on. This script is not for publication reproduction. No one is authorized to dispose of dispose of same. If lost or destroyed, please notify the script
Don't read that part. Don't read that part.
We need to tell them. Oh my goodness.
Oh, look, it says Picard in here.
Yeah. Read a line.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's happening. Pick a random page.
Data says, "Me, sir." Picard ignores him. Picard, "Me, if you let me speak to Soren." The two sisters appeared to consider this for a moment.
Okay, pause. I know what's happening. So Geordi has been kidnapped by Lursa and Beitor, and they're offering a trade. And Data's like, trade me. And Picard's like, no. Trade me, bring Geordi back, and then I'll sacrifice myself. Beitor, if you beam me down to the planet first to talk to Soren.
Beitor says to Lursa, the captain would make a much more vulnerable hostage. And Lursa says to Picard, "We'll consider it a prisoner exchange." And Picard says, hostage. "Agreed." And the transmission ends. Picard heads for the turbolift. Picard continuing, "Number 1, you have the bridge. Have Dr. Crusher meet me in transporter room 3.
Meet me in transporter room 3.
Did I say vulnerable? Valuable.
Yeah.
Sorry, did I say vulnerable? I'm reading on the fly.
You are fine. I really like Generations. It's a much better episode of Star Trek than it is a movie, but it's good.
This is so
like it.
interesting because it says like they put their tricorders away and begin looking around the room. Data continues to snicker and giggle as he tries not to laugh at jokes his mind conjures up. Jordy begins inspecting the probes, finally stops at one probe, which has several odd devices attached to the side.
That's
It's
the
so
stuff I want to
interesting.
read. That's exactly the stuff that I want to read, because the dialogue, I know it inside out, but what the screenwriters had in mind for what eventually ended up on screen, that's what's
Yeah.
really interesting, because they've got to describe this is where they are, this is what they're looking at. This helps the actors as well. So Brent Spiner knows what Data is thinking about because he's just got his emotion chip.
So here's a part
love
that you'll
it.
like then.
Is it describing the Enterprise?
He says, new angle, the plateau. As the ribbon of energy tears across the scene in a terrifying torrent of light and sound. The scene, it's washed out by blinding flood of red light. Then suddenly the ribbon is gone, and so are Picard and Soren. The plateau is strangely and utterly silent after the passage of the ribbon. Even the birds have stopped chirping in the trees.
And the next bit might describe the saucer section of the Enterprise D being destroyed.
Okay, as the energy ribbon rushes past the camera, a huge... so exterior space, Viridian 3. As the energy ribbon rushes past the camera, a huge shockwave from the destroyed star heads towards the planet. Exterior planet surface, the Enterprise, wide shot. The saucer section now has people standing on the hull, watching as the shockwave roars across the landscape, finally annihilating the entire saucer and everything around it.
That's
You're gonna
so
love
good.
this.
I'm gonna love that. That is hands down the best ship lands on a planet scene, because I don't want to spoil anything, in all of Star Trek. It's so freaking good. And it is just, thank you, Katra. It's so good. And the way that they shot it was genius. It was so good. It feels so authentic.
Well, there you go. This is
Yeah.
one I had to stop going to those auction sites because
It's fair.
the
It's fair.
temptation is so strong to do things. But
Yes!
Ian, are you ready for a nap?
I'm gonna get me now. Let me read
Okay,
some more
okay,
Star Trek. Read some more screenplay
Pick
for
a page
me.
number. Pick a page number.
71.
Okay, page 71. What do you think
Wonder
is
if I can
happening on
guess
page
what-
71?
Page 71.
We had the same idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that Picard is talking to Guinan about her experience in the Nexus.
Okay.
This would be insane if I got this right.
Continued.
No way.
Picard.
Okay.
They're just trying to decide whether a 20-year-old Klingon bird of prey is any match for the Federation flagship.
No, I'm way off.
You're
Way off. Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you know who
So-
speaks next?
Riker.
Troy.
Mhm.
Or perhaps they're on the surface. Worf turns to Picard. Worf. Sir, according to my calculations, a solar probe launched from either the Klingon ship or the planet's surface will take 11 seconds to reach the sun.
Oh, but Worf will take somewhere in the region of 8 to 12 seconds to get a target lock.
However, since we do not know the exact point of origin, it will take us between 8 and 15 seconds
Oh, that's so close.
to lock our weapons to it.
Is that the nerdiest thing you've ever heard me say?
Oh my God, Wandering
That
did it
was
too.
so close.
Wandering did it too. You guys
Yes.
are so fucking funny. Oh my God.
That
Bravo,
always-
chat.
That always stands out to me, because instead of Worf saying, maybe I can do it, he gives a window where there's a 50% chance he can, 50% chance he can't. And I was like, oh, that's an interesting way of framing that. Yeah, this is how Christmas looks like. It's read a bit of the script and then Ian says what happens
That was
next.
pretty fun, honestly.
I love it.
This is why you guys come to the live show, and
Oh.
we love spending time with you. We do have to get going because we've got more to do today for our jobs to bring you continuous content.
And
that
Ian
you
is ready
love.
for a nap. He truly is.
Yeah, thanks for being such a trooper and hanging out, Ian. You did a great job today. We will see you guys next week for our regularly
you guys.
scheduled programming. Everything should be running
Yes.
normal. And maybe we should do another new segment called Ian Guesses Generations content.
Yes, let's do it. We'll put it
Oh
in the
my
outtake.
God. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
you
there we go. Amazing.
We'll see you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. Be kind to yourselves. We love you guys
Yeah.
so much, and we will
Drink
see you
some
next
water.
time. Oh yes,
Drink
please.
some water.
Yeah, drink
You.
water. Yeah, that's a good idea.